Welcome to sunny San Diego, where today the Raiders meet the Chargers for the second time this season. A quick overview of the AFC standings, changing as we speak. Raiders still have a chance to get into postseason. Good afternoon, everyone. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. The LA Raiders, or the Oakland Raiders, still have hopes rising for a possible playoff spot. But to get there, they have to win this game. They cannot lose it. And the reason they're playing so much improved football, Steve, Rich Gannon at quarterback.
Well, Rich Gannon has been a huge pickup for the Raiders. It's been his consistency at quarterback that has given the Raiders something they haven't had in a few years. The question is the spark he has provided this last month going to be too little too late?
Meanwhile, the San Diego Chargers are battling for an 8-8 season. Any win over the Raiders makes it a special year, but it's been a year of injuries for this team.
It really has. Mike Riley's got this organization headed in the right direction, but the question for today is, can this Chargers defense, hobbled as it is by injury, with that guy, Junior Seau, can they dredge up enough emotion to put together a winning performance against the Raiders?
The weather could not be better. Temperature at 74 degrees. You see low humidity. Wind will not be a factor. And the Chargers have won the toss, and they'll receive to start the game. Kenny Bynum and Terrell Fletcher are back now for San Diego. Ready to kick off for Oakland is Joe Nedney. Qualcomm Stadium is sold out. A high spinning kick hit downfield. And here comes Kenny Bynum. Out to the 24-yard line. A return on the play of 21 yards. And Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers come out on offense. Harbaugh with a quarterback rating of 69.6. Interceptions have been a problem. He's not thrown a touchdown pass in the last 3 games. The veteran, though, is liable to light it up at any time. He had a very hot streak at one point in the year.
He's a guy that came in here to San Diego and has given them a level of respect that they didn't have at the quarterback position a year ago.
Going with a lone setback now. Fazan, the rookie fullback, runs the ball and doesn't get much as we look at the rest of the San Diego Chargers on offense. Jackson, Taylor, Fortin, Graham, and Parker across the front. They didn't run the ball at all last week at Miami. Fazan, the rookie from Oklahoma, starting runner, fullback McCrary, Graham and Penn, the wideouts. Leading receiver is the tight end, Freddie Jones, with 50 catches. Here is Jermaine Fazan, and he hits it out close to the 28-yard line. On second down and 10, gets about 4. As we look at the Raiders on defense, they grade out well. Harris, Maryland, Darrell Russell, a Pro Bowler, having a tremendous year, and Lance Johnstone. Barton, a rookie. Beekert in the middle. Richard Harvey, a veteran at the right side. Woodson, Newman, Mincy, and Allen in the defensive secondary. Charles Woodson, 2 years in the league and 2 Pro Bowls. He's going again. And not even looking at the ball was Terrell Fletcher, but he's looking for a penalty marker, but there's none. So the Chargers really off center on that.
In the last month, the Chargers have been going with a no-huddle offense. You see they run play after play very quickly, and John Gruden knows that if his team is going to play well against that offense, they've got to be ready once they step on the field, because it's very difficult to substitute as a defense when the offense does not huddle.
Darren Bennett, a big punter from Australia, a guy who's undergone 12 knee surgeries over the years, most of it due to Australian rules football. It's a high booming punt. Darian Gordon backpedals to the 14-yard line. Gordon with a channel of blockers, a picket line forming on the right side, and he gets the ball close to the 25-yard line. And there the Oakland Raiders come out first down and 10 after a 58-yard punt by Bennett and a 12-yard return tackled by Reggie Rusk. Rich Gannon at quarterback, heading to the Pro Bowl for the first time, his 12th year in the league. Best numbers ever, the quarterback rating, touchdown throws, and yardage.
And it says something about this Raiders team that at this point in the season they've got a Pro Bowl quarterback, and they're also running the football better than anybody in the National Football League. That says where they've come this far this season. They've really made a step up this year, even though they may not make the playoffs.
Yeah, they are. 138 yards a game rushing for the Raiders, 4.5 a carry. The NFL's best rushing team at this point. And the door is slammed as Tyrone Wheatley, having a career year, first year as a Raider, 5th year in the league, As we look at the rest of the Oakland Raider offense, Collins, Wisniewski, Robbins, Sims, and Kennedy, a big offensive front. Wide receivers are Tim Brown and James Jett, Dudley the tight end, Kaufman and John Ritchie. The runners, they'll alternate Wheatley and Kaufman. They both ran for over 100 yards last week in the route of Tampa Bay. Near side throw, nicely done. Jett sprints ahead. First down for Oakland on an 11-yard gain. And they'll be going after cornerback Fakir Brown all day. That's who they went after there. As we look at the Chargers on defense, Fontenot, Hand, Perella, who's had a tremendous year. So is pass rusher Rayleigh Johnson. Bush, Hill, and Seau, who's playing hurt across the front on the linebacking core. And Lewis, Brown at the corners, Jackson and Dumas are the safeties. There is Junior Seau, 8 straight Pro Bowls. He won't go to the next one, didn't make it this year. And he said his only disappointment is he didn't do enough to help his team win if he's not going. Here's Dudley, the tight end, and he's out to the 40-yard line. Nice controlled passing game here, Steve, by the veteran Rich Gannon.
Well, that's what Rich Gannon has given the Raiders. Just consistency, just play steady, get the ball in the hands of the people that can make the plays. He has really done more in what he has not done, and that is mistakes. Rich Gannon has played mistake-free, and the Raiders have been much improved, if only for that reason.
Second down and 6 coming up now for the Raiders. Raiders coming off maybe the most dominant win of any team over another top team, maybe in a decade, routing what many think is the best team right now in the National Conference, Tampa Bay, last week, 45-0. Never a game.
You just do not see teams lose by 45 points in the National Football League, and the Raiders put it all together last week. And the reason it was so surprising was they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are a playoff team. That is a good football team they've got in Tampa Bay, and the Raiders just chewed them up and spit them out.
Absolute embarrassment, but the Raiders are that way this year. Good one game, not good the next. That's how you get to 7-7 and hoping for help to possibly make the playoffs. Third down coming up, and a timeout is signaled. It's taken by the San Diego Chargers. Happy holidays from San Diego, where the Raiders and the Chargers meeting for the second time. Mike Riley, head coach of the San Diego Chargers. His team deeply troubled by injuries, particularly in their pass defense.
Yeah, one of the things he said, the low point last week was they had to call a timeout because they didn't have enough defensive backs to actually even field a defensive backfield. They had to call a timeout and find guys to play.
They're just coming off a timeout the Chargers called now. Looked like Dudley left early. When he leaves early, he leaves fast.
Yeah, he doesn't stop. He keeps going.
Dudley, a much improved player. They thought.
False start. Offense. Number 83.
That's Dudley.
Penalty remains third down.
Jeff Triplett, our referee, is the guy who at Cleveland last week was knocked down by Orlando Brown, the offensive tackle for the Cleveland Browns.
There's not much question about that. You see there, Ricky Dudley taking off down the field and not looking back.
Raiders have the best conversion rate on third down in the American Conference, over 41%. Gannon needs 9. He makes the throw, and he's almost picked off. Mike Dumas, 38, comes over and makes the play, and so the Raiders stall. There's also a penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage. Could be a roughing the passer. It is. So the Chargers defense holds, but low. The Chargers are guilty of a roughing the passer penalty that gives a new set of downs to the Raiders.
And that's John Perella right there, getting the helmet right up under the chin. They'll call that every single time. John Perella has played very well for the Chargers in the last month. Sometimes when you get into these last few games of the season, you want to get your last licks in. Make sure that you end the season on a positive note, play hard, do some good things. John Perella's just a little bit overexcited on that.
And he told us when we talked to Big John, he said playing the Raiders is like a street fight with helmets on. It's as rough as it gets, and that time he got too rough with the quarterback, Rich Gannon. First down, Raiders. A sack Rayleigh Johnson and John Perella combine on a sack. They'll each get a half. Perella with 5.5 now. Rayleigh Johnson with 8 for the season.
It's ironic that when you sack a quarterback like that, that's never called roughing because he's still got the football. This is a much worse hit this time. Watches both guys sandwich Rich Gannon, tries to hang in there, knows right then that's a mark of a good quarterback. He knows he's going down, his time's running out, and you saw him tuck around the football as he was closed in by Al Fontenot and John Perella.
That brings up 2nd down and long now. Oakland needs 15 yards. Pitch back McCallum. Kaufman it is. Napoleon Kaufman turning the corner and gets out to the 48-yard line, where he is quickly knocked down by Seau as we look at the task at hand.
Well, the thing for both of these clubs is for the Raiders, they've got such athletes on their side of the football. If Rich Gannon can just get the football into their hands, the speed of the Raiders just takes over and they can make big plays at any time. On the Chargers side, Junior Seau is playing. He says he's got 4 gears. Only 3 of them are available today. He is playing really hurt, but his emotional presence is a big difference for these Chargers.
He's the leader. Many of the Chargers call the greatest football player they've ever been around. Here is a throw and a catch. Yes, coverage was right on the receiver, but it's good now for a 17-yard gain on the play. James Jett, the fastest Raider, comes in and runs a hook pattern.
James Jett working on Charles Dimry up at the top. This is a great catch by James Jett. Watch at the top of the route. Charles Dimry sees it, but he just can't get to the football. You see there, he's all over. The ball is right there. James Jett uses his body to keep Charles Dimry away from the football, and he gives himself an opportunity to catch it. That's a great play by a wideout.
And good for a 1st down. Gannon's perfect throwing the ball for the Raiders. 3 of 3. Handoff goes to Tyrone Wheatley, who takes it down to the 34-yard line. Wheatley gained only 1,200 yards total in his first 4 years in the league as a New York Giant. And now this year he's up over 840 for the season as a Raider.
Yeah, Tyrone Wheatley's one of those guys that he did struggle in New York, and he had a chance to go down to Miami and play. They released him. I think he looked in the mirror one day and said, you know what, I may be out of the league if I don't settle down. And he has really made the most of his opportunity here in Oakland.
Last stop. That's right. And he said, I love the game and I'm good at it, and he's proving it this year. Gannon, pump faking, drills the ball, and Dudley open, had to come back at it. That looked like a ball that was very catchable.
Yeah, you got to come down with that. If he makes that catch, you say, hey, that's a great catch. But if he misses it, you think he should have had it. It's one of those fine lines. The ball was behind him. He had to turn. He did everything right. What happens when you're going down the field and the ball's behind you, you got to turn your entire body. So many times you see a guy reach back with one arm, but Ricky Dudley does everything right here. He just doesn't pull. You see him turn his entire body. You see the ball's way up out of his reach. Rich Gannon tried to gun it in there because he could see Jason Perry closing in.
Dudley with 33 catches for the season, but 8 of them have been for touchdowns. Now we have Oakland calling a timeout with 3rd down and 10 coming up. So John Gruden sees his team moving the ball, but faced with a 3rd and 10 when we come back to San Diego. The ball inside the 35-yard line of the Chargers, but Oakland has 3rd down and 10 coming up. 10th play of this drive. Gannon dumps it off. Incomplete. Zach Crockett, the fullback, 32, coming out of the backfield, couldn't get the low ball. Now we look at the AFC playoff picture. Jacksonville and Indianapolis tied for overall best records in the American Conference. In the 4th tiebreaker, they have to go to conference points. Jacksonville has a 14-point lead. Jaguars playing Cincinnati in the season finale. Next Sunday, the Colts play a tough Buffalo. Now Nedney is into
timeout.
52-yard field goal.
San Diego.
Somebody's not on the right page on San Diego. Early in the game, they've already burned 2 of their 3 timeouts.
Good start. Yeah, give me another one. Yeah. If we go back to that, hey. What did Amy Trask tell us? Buffalo had to lose one of their two.
No, they got a tough one next week.
Yeah, we'll. No, that's not right, Don. I think Buffalo had to lose both theirs. Right.
The Raiders setting up now for a 52-yard field goal try by Joe Nedney, who was 1 for 1 field goals. And that's how he is as a Raider. He came in Houston having a lot of problems this year kicking field goals earlier in the year. Nedney with a big leg booms it. And he knocks it through, and the Raiders take a 3-0 lead. John Gruden sees his new kicker deliver the goods. Raiders kick off, and we come back. Yeah.
Right. So there's 3 teams for 2 spots now.
Final score in overtime from Foxborough. Buffalo 13, New England 10.
Back to San Diego as the Oakland Raiders now kick the ball off. Joe Nedney hits a high spinner. Coming down with the ball is Kenny Bynum again. Will open the game with a return. This time he's taken down at the 24-yard line. The playoff picture changing as we speak. Buffalo's overtime win at New England did some damage to some other teams. The Raiders are now out of any possible playoff spot. And so is Baltimore.
Yeah, instead of 6 teams vying for 2 spots, now there's 3 teams in the hunt for 2 spots left. And that means either Seattle, Buffalo, or Miami could still be eliminated.
Jim Harbaugh on first down takes a look downfield. Makes a throw. Coverage all over his intended receiver. Michael Ricks comes down with the ball for his. Now they're ruling he did not have possession. They're taking it back for second down and 10.
Michael Ricks, the intended receiver.
Jim Harbaugh has really given the offense here in San Diego something. You see there, they don't huddle up. He just kind of yells out the formation. In fact, sometimes in timeouts, he doesn't like to get the play.
Here's the play now. He fires over the middle. It's intercepted. The ball is picked off by Anthony Newman. So the Raiders defense takes a big bite out of the Chargers offense. Looking for Jeff Graham. He found Anthony Newman.
The Raiders just found out on their sidelines that they were eliminated by the fact that Buffalo won in New England. And let me tell you something, as a player, when you find that out, it makes you angry. The Raiders know they're playing as well as anybody in the AFC, and they're not going to the playoffs, and they are not happy about it.
Yeah, they announced it with great gusto here, maybe thinking the Raiders would go into a shell, and disappointed.
That's a big mistake by the Charger PR people here.
Well, I don't think they have to announce the scores, but Rich Gannon and the Oakland Raiders come out of the huddle at the 33-yard line of the Chargers. Second back. Hoffman tries to go wide. He's stuck hard. Apparently, he also angered Darrell Lewis of the Chargers. He just put a big-time hit. No gain. Second down and 10 now for Oakland. Gannon under the rush, dumps it off nicely. Penalty markers down as Napoleon Kaufman gets inside the 30-yard line and down to the 28. Guy who's averaged for his 5 years in the league, Kaufman, almost 5 yards every time he's run with the ball.
I think number 7, sorry, Mo Collins, I think is going to get flagged for holding here on the left side.
Holding. Offense. 79. 10-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Big Mo Collins, the left tackle from Florida, 330 pounds.
One of the things about this Raiders team, their offense, they kind of running back. It's running back by committee. A lot of teams do that, but I think the Raiders make the best use of it. They've got Tyrone Wheatley, who's a big slashing between the tackles type of runner, and Napoleon Kaufman, as we saw last week in Tampa Bay, he can bust a big one.
Right now, Gannon needs a big one. Throwing the ball, second down and long yardage, dumps it to Tim Brown, and Brown splits the defenders and gets inside the 5. Still fighting. He's down to the 1-yard line. Tim Brown with a spectacular 43-yard play.
You want to know why Tim Brown is another Raider who will probably be in the Hall of Fame when he's done. That play typifies his career.
82nd catch of the year.
He's one of the many Heisman Trophy winners who has played for the Raiders. You see here, once he gets the ball in his hands, that's when his athletic ability takes over, and that's when Tim Brown is his best.
Tim Brown, in his 12th year out of Notre Dame, has missed 1 game in the last 10 years. And his numbers are pure Hall of Fame. Now they go. Dak Crockett, bang, hits into the middle, and he's into the end zone, and the Raiders take a 9-0 lead. The Raiders dominated San Diego 28-9 in mid-November when they played the first time. Outgained the Chargers 417 yards to 225. Outrushed them 173-33. Could be the same story again.
This is Zach Crockett, just a big fullback running behind another big fullback in John Ritchie, and they just plow into the end zone. This Raiders team, when they come to San Diego, they have a lot of people who come out to watch them play. Junior Seau told us, I have to put the mental cap on that this is an away game, even though it's in San Diego.
Yeah, they have a tremendous following here, the Raiders. Nedney drives the point after through, and so the Raiders, albeit eliminated from playoff contention, nonetheless build a 10-0 lead. That 43-yard catch by Tim Brown came to the 1-yard line, a yard short of a touchdown catch, which would have tied him with Fred Biletnikoff as the all-time Raider leaders. Biletnikoff has 76 career touchdowns, now a receivers coach. Tim Brown with 75.
You can bet Fred and Tim have been talking about that record for quite some time. I'm sure some merchandise is going to change hands when that record does too.
Yeah, Tim Brown, one of the few guys in the history of the league who one day will have the hat trick for football honors: the Heisman Trophy, College Hall of Fame, and Pro Hall of Fame. He has the Heisman. He'll have the other 2.
He has been the consummate Oakland Raider throughout his entire career.
Missed his whole sophomore season as a pro. His second year, injured his knee in the opening game, returning a kickoff. But he's been a great one ever since. Here is now Kenny Bynum running back. Another kickoff, and there are markers down all over the field.
From the 2-yard line. Fabian Smith with the tackle for the Raiders. Penalty flags on the return.
Jeff Triplett with an illegal use of hand signal against the return team, the San Diego Chargers. The Sanyo Lightship is flying overhead with its eye-in-the-sky camera to bring you these beautiful shots from 1,000 feet above the stadium today.
As you can see, it's very cloudy here in San Diego as usual.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Every time you come out here, it's better than the last time.
I know.
And it was perfect then.
It never changes. That's what's one thing I'd like to get bored with. It's the weather.
Well, I'm from Buffalo. You live there.
That's right.
You get all 4 seasons there, right?
There is something to be said about a white Christmas. There's also something to be said about playing golf on Christmas Day.
Here is Harbaugh now, trying to jumpstart an offense. He has just 1 touchdown pass in his last 4 games. Here's a penalty against the Raiders, a long first down penalty assessment. Jeff Graham, the intended receiver, and one of the best cover corners in football. Eric Allen is called for the foul.
Eric Allen tried to pull.
Or is he? Is it going the other way?
He might get away with one. He had his back arm grabbing Michael Ricks as they were going down the field. What a great play by Eric Allen. Veteran, savvy play. He was looking for the football, but he was pulling Michael Ricks right to the ground as he did it.
Against the Chargers.
Pass interference. Offense.
It is.
81. Half the distance.
The call is on Jeff Graham.
First down.
As a wide receiver, I got to take my hat off to Eric Allen. Watch here as he looks back for the. All bets are off. Now you see how he reaches back and pulls Jeff Graham.
Yeah.
They both use their look at John Gruden pointing down, and he knows what he saw. That is a huge call for a defensive back to pull out, and that's a veteran play by Eric Allen.
So instead of the long first down on penalty yardage, it's now first down and 20 for the Chargers. Oakland coming with a big rush. Again, he airs it out. Graham is out there again. And Graham looks like he's come down with the ball. He has to the 38-yard line. A sensational play. Jeff Graham with his 49th catch. Good for 54 yards.
And look here, and the Chargers now run to the line of scrimmage, and this is what the no huddle can do for you. Watch here. The Chargers are already calling the play right now, and they're going to walk up and run another one as they run in some fresh wide receivers. And now the defense has to say, oh, man, we gave up a big play. Oh, they're about to snap the ball, and they can't get their win back. Great play, and that's what the benefit of this offense is.
Chargers had no running game at Miami last week. 26 yards on 21 carries. They know they have to throw against a tough Raider defense. As we'll look back at that big catch for 54 yards by Jeff Graham.
Jeff Graham comes out and they'll switch places. Michael Ricks, they'll cross, and then he goes up the field. And right here, the ball's in the air, and you see there's the separation that Jeff Graham gets. Eric Allen makes the recovery, and then the ball just goes right through his hands. Jeff Graham, great concentration. 2 plays in a row by those two. One went for the offense, one for the defense.
Now on second down and 13, Harbaugh from the shotgun. Standing in, near side throw, makes a connection, incomplete. Fred McCrary is leveled. No huddle, it's not a 2-minute hurry-up offense, but you see how the Chargers have done with the huddle offense, with the no huddle offense.
And you see the record hasn't improved, but the offense has. It's really sparked the offense. They've been more productive, and they've scored more points, and that's the bottom line.
Chargers had a midseason 6-game losing streak. They've had an inordinate number of injuries. Right now we're having some last-minute changes coming in. Reggie Davis comes in as an extra tight end. And we need an extra pass blocker. Ball on the field. Harbaugh in trouble. Downs the ball way back at his 43-yard line. So he's going to have to air out another 50-yarder here.
Well, that's what happens in the no huddle, and that's one of the things you have to learn when you run the no huddle. Yeah, they had to run a guy on late. They had a guy that wasn't out in the huddle, but you know what? They didn't huddle in the first place, so the play clock, they still had plenty of time. The offense kind of felt like they had to get it off or they were going to get a delay of game penalty, but because they didn't huddle, they had plenty of time, and that was the reason for the bad snap, I believe.
Darrell Russell, 3 years in the league, going to his second Pro Bowl in a row. He was the guy putting the pressure on. Darian Gordon's back. Darren Bennett hits a high punt. Gordon from the 5. Good special teams coverage by the Chargers. Knocks him down at the 10-yard line. Get the most comprehensive analysis of NFL matchups with complete statistical recaps on CBS Sportsline's matchup breakdown. Just click on NFL@cbs.sportsline.com. Number 96, Darrell Russell. Some are calling him, Steve, in his 3rd year out of Southern California, as good a defensive tackle as there is in the league. And he wants to play well here. He's from St. Augustine High School in San Diego, back in his hometown.
That's the thing about Darrell Russell that makes him such a great player. He's got all the physical ability, but he also has the maturity and the desire to be the best. And that sometimes separates the great ones from the good ones.
He's been playing tremendous football. He's always occupied by 2, sometimes 3 blockers. Darrell Russell is on the offensive side. The Raiders go to Tyrone Wheatley, who's knocked down by Norman Hand. Short gain out to the 12-yard line.
That's one of the things that's a key for this Raiders offense. They've got to get a good running game, but conversely, the Chargers know they've got to stop it, and that's the first thing. You see there, these are the two guys as they
combined have the best rushing total in the NFL, over 1,500 yards. Wheatley and Kaufman. Thunder and lightning. Wheatley, the big 230-pound tackle breaker. Napoleon Kaufman, the sprinter out of the University of Washington. Here's Gannon. High in time with his good feet, and he goes to Tim Brown running in the open field again. Tim Brown, who absolutely ate up the Chargers in the first meeting this year with 7 catches for well over 100 yards. Is almost over 100 yards today. He's up to 90 yards catching the ball and 2 catches.
So many people today in the National Football League think big plays, you got to throw the ball down the field. Well, you don't have to when you've got Tim Brown. Just throw the ball short, and that's what Rich Gannon has done so effectively. The Raiders have in their offense the ability to hit Tim Brown and James Jett with short passes, but they catch that ball while they're running full speed. That gives them the opportunity to make the big play like Tim Brown just did.
He's made 2 now. Junior Seau says the thing that makes Rich Gannon so tough is his ability to run and to improvise. He said you can't practice against it. You're seeing it for the first time.
Exactly right, and even Rich Gannon can't practice it.
Makes good decisions. That's what Gruden said sets him apart. Here's a long ball. Mickens heading for the ball, and he can't hold on to the 2-yard line. Terry Mickens, a fleet wide receiver out of Florida A&M. Unable to make the play. 2nd down and 10 for Oakland coming up.
And as Terry Mickens, you'll see him come off the look at the cushion that Dimry gives him, and that's a little chuck right there, 15 yards down the field. Look, Charles Dimry does a great job of batting that away. Watch this at the end of the play. Great recovery there. That is a huge play that's taken away by Charles Dimry. Great defensive play.
Saved another big gainer. Gannon effective throwing, 5 of 8 for 122 yards. Changing the play. Chargers aligning to blitz. Here it comes. They pick it up and go to the run to Wheatley. And Tyrone Wheatley takes it ahead for a couple of yards. Rich Gannon out of the University of Delaware, the Blue Hens. He is now the quarterback coach of the Raiders is Gary Stevens, who spent 9 years as the quarterback coach of the most prolific passer in NFL history, Dan Marino at Miami.
And all these numbers that you see, these are career highs for Rich Gannon. He stepped in as the Oakland Raiders starter and had his best year as a professional, and that's exactly what the Raiders signed him to do. And the thing that sets him apart this year is the fact that he has not made the big mistake, and his scrambling and his improvisation has made the difference.
20 touchdown throws, 11 interceptions. He said his biggest attribute is, I don't quit. He gets sacked, though, back at the 48-yard line. 2nd sack of the day. Rayleigh Johnson doing good work. The pass rusher from Arkansas, number 99 for the Chargers, and a penalty marker's down.
The Chargers were in the neutral zone right before the snap. I think Rich Gannon knew that as well. He didn't try to make anything happen. He knew he was going to take the sack, so he just took it. Knew it was going to be against them.
Offside. Defense. Nose tackle. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Most good quarterbacks like Rich Gannon know when they drop back after a penalty, they can realize when it's encroachment on the defense. So they'll take that free shot down the field. In that case, though, Rich Gannon didn't have the opportunity to do that.
See the scoreboard. Big score. Seattle with a most important game against Kansas City. Seattle trying to stop the bleeding. They've been in a tailspin, and Kansas City Chiefs have 9-5 with 4 straight wins.
That's also the last game in the Kingdome for the regular season game. Gannon
on 3rd and 4. Sidearms the ball, and it's separated from Tim Brown. Nicely done by Mike Dumas. A dangerous safety. He has 2 sacks along with 2 interceptions, number 38 from Indiana.
Michael Dumas was a question mark coming into the game. He has not practiced very much. He's got a sore toe on his foot, and if you're a defensive back and you can't run, you can't play. And the San Diego Chargers have been afflicted with the injury bug in their secondary, and it has really cost them this last month of the season.
Joe Nedney is at his distance. He's hit a 52-yarder earlier. Here's another try from 52. Again, he hits it hard. Is it going to get there? It is not. Short and wide. And so the Chargers will take over the ball, trailing the Oakland Raiders 10-0. All the NFL teams are involved in great charities. Lids for Kids, which is fostered by John Carney, the San Diego place kicker. It's a foundation for cancer research. In October, a number of Chargers shaved their heads in the Lids for Kids. David Ben, John Carney, Darren Bennett, Hank Bauer, one of the announcers, a former Charger.
They may not get very many white Christmases in San Diego, but they do have the Christmas spirit. And you see there John Carney shaving his head for those kids, and that's a great gesture by a lot of pro football players that those kids look up to.
Carney with 26 of 30 field goals for the season. Another tremendous year, but the miss last week at Miami cost a possible victory. And here is a pick. It looks like the throw. No, Mike Ricks is going to get the catch. He's got the ball down to the 25-yard line. Michael Ricks coming down with the ball for a 32-yard gain, his 35th catch of the year.
That's the benefit of having a 6'5" wide receiver. Jim Harbaugh hangs this ball up. Michael Ricks is open. He looks around. He has time to look around. You see him look around, then go up and get that football. He wasn't sure at first exactly where the defender was or where Harbaugh was throwing the football.
But it's a big play for the Chargers. Their best penetration of Oakland's area of the field yet. Jermaine Fazand, all 260-plus pounds of him, a rookie from Oklahoma, bangs it in as the clock starts to wind down and out, concluding the first quarter of play. Fazand getting the start today. End of the first quarter with the score: Oakland 10, San Diego nothing. We'll return to San Diego right after this message. After a quarter, 10-0 Raiders. Happy holidays, everyone. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker at San Diego. Raiders know they won't make the playoffs for a 6th straight year, but they are battling for a 9-7 season, Steve, and 2 years ago they won 4 games.
Well, both these clubs are really looking to improve, and they have, and they're really looking for the offseason to turn around, get back into the season next year with a positive note, and have a shot at the playoffs from start to finish.
Here's a throw, an open guy, and Davis, but Harbaugh can't get on the ball. Rookie tight end Reggie Davis going for the ball, a bit of an overthrow.
Lance Johnstone came off the corner and got into Jim Harbaugh's vision. He knew he was going to have to let go of the ball. He didn't have time to put the ball right where he wanted it. He was more worried about getting rid of it rather than putting it right where it was going to be a completion.
Harbaugh, who has quarterback playoff teams in 6 of his previous 12 seasons, standing in the shotgun on 3rd down. Makes a throw. That's Davis. And he is down close to the 17-yard line. Reggie Davis out of the University of Washington, taken down by another rookie, Eric Barton. Coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report, Jim, Craig, Randy, and Jerry will get you caught up on all the scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report. 81st meeting of the Chargers and the Raiders. San Diego had no touchdowns in 6 trips inside the 20-yard line. The last 6 times the Chargers have been in the red zone, including 4 times at Miami. They failed to score a touchdown. They're in the red zone now on 4th and 1. Harbaugh throws. He makes a connection. It's good for the first down. Guns the ball in nicely off the run. Michael Ricks makes the play. 36th catch of the year for the big receiver at 6'5", almost 240 pounds.
One of the things that the Chargers do very well is they use a lot of different people in their offense. Even though they run the no huddle, they have the ability to run different personnel packages on and off the field, and that's a real bonus for them in special situations like a 4th and 1.
4th and 1 turns into 1st and 10. The hallmark of winning quarterbacks, turning 3rd, in that case 4th down, into a 1st down. Fazand will not break anything long. Now they're starting up after the play, just like they like it in this series.
Now this is nothing new for Chargers-Raiders game, you can always count on a 1 or 2 personal fouls and a couple of scuffles.
Jeff Triplett, what a week he's had. He's the official, as we mentioned earlier, who inadvertently threw the penalty marker that hit the offensive tackle Orlando Brown of the Cleveland Browns in the eye, and then Brown lost control in a rage. He knocked down with a 2-hand shove Triplett and has been suspended indefinitely by the league.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 24. Half the distance. Automatic first down.
Charles Woodson.
This is the replay of what happened. The guys getting up, climbing their feet, pushing in. One of the things they say about Charles Woodson.
That's Mincy. There's Woodson on the other side.
Mincy started.
Yeah.
Charles Woodson's the guy that kind of finished it off. Charles Woodson is a cornerback, but he's not your normal cornerback. He's a guy that has a little bit of nasty in him. He's not one of those guys that only plays the pass. He can stuff the run, and he likes the contact. That's why he's a great one.
They call him the Sheriff, and he covers the whole field. First down and goal now for San Diego. Open in the lead, 10-0. Harbaugh takes a look, makes a throw. He's got a guy out there, and his tight end Freddie Jones can't get to the ball. No markers, second down and goal.
Jim Harbaugh not happy about either the way that play was executed or the call itself. Couldn't get that ball to Freddie Jones. A lot of guys dropping out, making sure Freddie Jones was covered. The Raiders know that once a team gets down into the red area, the tight ends become a much more used part of the offenses that they face. All the teams in the National Football League, when you get down close, they love the tight end.
Look at that, only 1 touchdown in the last 9 quarters by the Chargers. They have not scored a touchdown in their last 30 offensive possessions. This time they go to the big back, Jermaine Fazan, who bangs ahead. He was the 60th player picked overall in the last draft, as Mike Riley looks for a touchdown.
And the Chargers have got a little more confidence in their offense these days, and Mike Riley knows, you know, it's like a hitter going out to hit. Even though you're a pretty good hitter, if you are a good hitter, you're not going to get very many good pitches to hit, and that's the way he puts it. When you get down in the red zone, you got to know that those teams aren't going to give you anything easy, and you're going to have to earn everything that you get. They've had some fumbles down here. They have not executed very well in the red zone. It's been one of the things that has plagued them over the last month of this season.
Raiders with a huge defensive front. Dig in on 3rd and goal. Harbaugh takes a look, pump faking. He's got time, but nobody to go to. Now he's on the run. People scrambling all over the end zone. Tip ball could be picked. It's incomplete. So the Raiders do a terrific job. I mean, there was receivers, looked like a fire drill in the end zone, people running every which way, but Harbaugh with a lot of time. He had 5 seconds at least, had nowhere to go.
What a secondary play by the Raiders. Marquise Walker, Eric Allen, Charles Woodson, there was not an open receiver to be found anywhere on the football field. Jim Harbaugh had all day to throw the ball and couldn't find anyone. That is a defense that knows what it's doing down by the goal line.
And now what do you do is you fight for an 8-8 season, Steve, and have 4th down and goal coming up from the 4-yard line. Darian Gordon, 23, who was in as an extra defensive back, the punt returner. He's down on the field right now.
The Chargers are going to attempt a field goal as soon as the ball is put in play again, and at this point that's the right decision.
So while Darian is attended to, there's a timeout on the field. The Raiders in the lead. .12:03 to go in the first half. John Carney's on the field goal for the field goal unit out for San Diego. The second most accurate field goal kicker in NFL history, behind Hollis of Jacksonville is the most accurate. 21-yard field goal and snap. Carney rushing for the ball, downs it, and the Raiders will take over the ball at their 38-yard line. David Binn, who's been one of the best snappers in the NFL, that's all he does, sends a rocket back. I don't know who's at fault. We'll watch it again on replay, but there's a loss of 35 yards on the play.
Darren Bennett had absolutely no chance to grab that snap, and when a snap's that bad, you almost think perhaps they haven't had a fake on.
Yeah, they might have.
But if they did, Nobody else knew about it.
Yeah, I think it might have been a fake to Darren Bennett, but he couldn't handle the ball.
He had no chance. And I don't. That's David Benn there, as you see. And that's all he does is snap for punts and snap for field goals. And it's a science. I mean, you have to have a guy that specializes in it, but that was not a very special snap.
That's before that picture, before David Benn shaved his dome for Live for Kids. Yeah, that could have been a fake, but whatever it was, it ends up with a change of possession and a 35-yard Raider advantage down the field as the ball caroms all the way back. And now the Raiders, after that short run, will have 2nd down and 9 coming up. Tuesday on CBS, a medical miracle gave him a new identity. The only catch, he can never tell the family he left behind. This is your last chance to see now and again on a special day and time. Tuesday at 10, 9 Central on CBS. 2nd down and 8. Gannon steps up, steps in, lets it go long. James Jett, this fleet one, takes it and loses it at the 14-yard line. Lakir Brown, rookie out of Grambling, was covering on the play and covering well. He's been a guy they've been going after a lot this year.
He really has. And watch here as you'll come back. He's going to throw the ball deep, and he's going to fall back and get into the play. Watch here as the ball is snapped. Rich Gannon tries to look to the left, but does not buy it. Darrell Lewis playing back in the defensive backfield at a safety. He's usually a cornerback. You see they're helping out Fakir Brown on the outside.
And that brings up 3rd down and 8. Gannon gets some time. He's been sacked twice. Now he's running out of it, dumps it off, and really throws the ball away. Good defense by the Chargers. So after the errant snap or aborted fake field goal, whatever it was, only the Chargers know, and they want to forget about it. John Gruden sees his team go 3 and out on offense, and they'll punt the ball back to San Diego.
And this is what the Charger defense wants to do. They want to harry Rich Gannon. They want to get in his face, make him make decisions, and take a hit. They want the opposing quarterback to go down and go down hard.
Charlie Jones back now to return the punt for San Diego. Fleet little guy doing good work up the middle of the field, crosses the 30 and gets close to the 33-yard line. And there it will be 1st down and 10. So the Chargers had a great chance, but there are the San Diego Chargers talking things over on the bench. As right now their offense is on the field. The Chargers really had trouble pass blocking last week at Miami. Harbaugh was sacked 4 times, guilty of 2 intentional groundings because of the rush. He's not been sacked today. The Chargers conversely have gotten Gannon twice. Throw and a catch. Terrell Fletcher, little guy from Wisconsin who was a Rose Bowl MVP, and the Badgers going back to the Rose Bowl this year to play Stanford. One of Harbaugh's best play calls here, Steve. 2nd and short yardage, 2nd and 4. He's been faced with a lot of long yardages. Here's a throw and a catch. He makes use of it, getting the ball downfield to his tight end, Freddie Jones. Big Freddie's not done till he's all the way down inside the 20-yard line. They're going to rule him out of bounds at the, looks like about the 19-yard line. 26-yard gain.
One of the things they spoke about in the NFL today was the fact that tackling has become a lost art in the National Football League, and you saw there as Freddie Jones just shrugging guys off like they were old coats. Watch as he catches this pass on the corner, a great passer out. You see there 1 guy's gone, 2 guys are gone. As he gets up, and the 3rd guy finally knocks him out of bounds before pulling him down, or actually the 4th guy. Tackling is so key still, even at this level.
But Lombardi says it's blocking and tackling by experts that win. He was ruled down to the 24-yard line, so on 1st down and 10, they go to the run and get about 4. Now we have a moment. Let's go to Jim Nance in New York. Jim? Wow, that's a good way to come out of a losing streak. Beating one of the hottest teams in the league, the KC Chiefs. Here's a handoff. There's going to be a holding call against the San Diego Chargers as the umpire, who stands back there with the linebackers, fires in the flag.
This Chargers team has really struggled offensively. They were playing much better in the last month of the season when they did switch to the no huddle. But then last week in Miami.
Holding. Offense. 73. 10-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Last week in Miami, the entire offense really felt like it took a step backwards. They didn't score a touchdown, missed a field goal, couldn't get the ball moving. They couldn't score in the red zone, turned the ball over, really lost rhythm, did a lot of bad things offensively last week in Miami, and I think it stuck with them throughout the week.
How about those Colts? 3-13 last year, 13-2 this year, vying for home field in the American Conference playoffs as they head to Buffalo for their final regular season game next Sunday.
You can't say enough about that franchise and how they've turned it around. And it's things like that that give hope to teams, well, like the Raiders and the Chargers, who aren't in the playoffs this year.
That's right.
You get a 4-game swing with these two teams, and you've got a powerhouse headed into the playoffs, just like the Colts are this year.
That gives hope to teams like this. What casts doubt on the future is what's happened to 3 of the 4 Final 4 teams last year.
Yeah,
Atlanta out of business just about.
It's not easy to make that swing like the Colts did, but it is possible. It's much easier to make a swing the other way, like the Jets, the Falcons, the Broncos have done.
Second down comes up. 9:13 to go in the half. Harbaugh needing 18 yards for a first down. Standing in, takes a look. He can motor too, heading for the 12th man, the sideline, and gets some yardage and gets out of bounds. No harm done, although there were some Raiders coming over there in ill humor. Jim Harbaugh out of the University of Michigan in his 13th year. As you see, Harbaugh versus Gannon, 2 veteran quarterbacks. It takes a while to maybe learn this trade, Steve. Gannon going to the Pro Bowl for the first time in his 12th year. Steve Berline of Carolina going to the Pro Bowl for the first time in his 12th year.
There's something to be said for just hanging around the National Football League and finally making the most of an opportunity that you get. If you hang in there and stay in it mentally, even through the tough times, sooner or later you're going to get a chance to use those lessons you've learned.
Harbaugh's learned a lot of lessons in his 13 seasons, and he's seen a lot of pass rushes, none any more fierce than that as the rookie Eric Barton, a man they call a tackling machine, out of Maryland, 5th round draft choice. He just ate up the Tampa Bay Bucks last week, makes the sack.
Eric Barton's a guy that just got on the field last week. He got his first start, and his moving into the open side there, you'll see there as he takes the block on of Terrell Fletcher and then moves off and makes the sack. Richard Harvey moved over to the strong side, which enabled Eric Barton to come in, and he has made the most of it. Got a sack on the first play from scrimmage last week and really never let up and has not looked back since.
That's right. He set the tone last week with that opening sack of Sean King. He had 8 tackles for the game. Here is the field goal try from 49 yards. What a beauty. So John Carney hits a big one, and the Chargers are on the board. 7:58 to go in the half, and San Diego trails 10-3.
Fresh off a workout.
The real Raider fans are here in force.
It's really a truth in the National Football League. If you want to be big and bad in the NFL, you've got to be measured against the Raiders.
They got to be measured against their fans sometimes. Here is Carney, who hit what is officially a 48-yard field goal, kicking off down the field, and ball is run back now to the 33-yard line by Calvin Branch. 19-yard return by Calvin, and that's tackle made by Orlando Ruff. Rich Gannon ready to bring out his team again. You see the total yards. Raiders not doing a whole lot offensively in the second quarter. They absolutely dominated the first meeting against the San Diego Chargers, out rushing the Chargers, out passing them, and winning 28-9. The last time the Raiders came here to San Diego last year was a tight game, 17-10. Raiders won it.
I'll look for them to try and get their run game involved. They've got Tim Brown involved. They're probably going to try and get John Ritchie and Tyrone Wheatley involved.
Gannon, seeing a shifting defense, pitches back. Hoffman at 185. He's not a tackle breaker, but if they give him a channel, he can go all the way. Eric Hill, the middle backer for the Chargers, was the first guy to give him a hit. Unbelievable season for the Oakland Raiders. I mean, they're so close to having one of the best records in the league. They lost on a last-second play in the opening game at Green Bay. They had a 1-point loss at Seattle. Blew a lead and lost to Denver. In a second Denver game, an overtime loss. Blew a 14-point lead and lost to Kansas City.
They have not lost a game by more than a touchdown all year.
Yeah, their average margin of defeat is 4.4 points. They have not won the close games. Here's Gannon, a big rush put on. Joe Pascal, the defensive coordinator for the Chargers, calling a lot of blitzes, and now he's keeping the heat on Rich Gannon.
And Joe, I talked to Joe Pascal, and he's got one of those, he's an old-time NFL coach. He's seen it all. He expects these Raiders to come out and try and dominate his defense with the run game, and you can see he's got them prepared for it. They are not letting the Raiders do anything on the ground.
Gannon started out hitting his first 5 of his first 7 passes. He's now missed his last 5. He's 5 for 12 for the game. On 3rd and 11, he pump fakes. Running, looking, he's sacked. Albert Fontenot comes through and gets him.
You want to talk about the close games that the Raiders have had. That is their record last year. They were 5-2 in games decided by a touchdown or less, and this year you can see how that's turned around, but you can also see that the number has improved. They've had 11 games decided by a touchdown or less. There's nobody can run off and leave the Raiders. They're just too good.
So John Gruden on the sideline, the 36-year-old head coach who took over a team that was 4-12 in '97, had them 8-8 last year, had that great start. 6-1 in '98.
Offense, 44.
Tailed off.
5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
And you see there, and also in that graphic you saw just a moment ago, all 7 of their losses have been by less than a touchdown. They have really been in the face of a lot of opponents. You cannot really put this team away. They're too athletically gifted. They've got great players all over the football field if they can just put it together.
Charlie Jones back anticipating the punt now. He backpedals to his 17. Trying to go wide, and he does. He turns the corner, and Charlie Jones with a burst gets it all the way up the far sideline, close to the 49-yard line. Out of Fresno State, Charlie Jones breaks a big one and gives the Chargers very good field position when we come back to San Diego. 32-yard return. Back at San Diego, as you see, 6:09 to go in the first half. The Chargers down by 7 with the ball at their 49-yard line. John Gruden, sleepless in Oakland. The guy, they don't know how he does it, but he averages like 4 hours of sleep a night. They're getting their money's worth when they hired him. Handoff to Fazand. A Marion Butts lookalike. A great fullback for the Chargers in years past. Fazand wearing the same number as Marion Butts, 35. He's about the same size. He has not yet put up the same numbers right now.
Well, he's running against a defense there. It's led by a couple of good linebackers. Richard Harvey for one. You see there, John Jackson stays down.
Former Steeler offensive tackle. Big John Jackson looked like he was knocked out on the play. And that stops the clock with 5:49 to go in the first half. Chargers down 10-0 after their first points on the field goal. There's Big John Jackson. Steelers have lost so many players. The Pittsburgh Steelers, when you look at all the draft choices, Steve, of every team in the decade of the 90s, the Steelers have more players still in the league than any team in the NFL. They have 30 on their own roster, and there's 30 others around the league that were drafted by the Steelers.
And that's the problem. The 30 that's drafted by the Steelers are very, very good football players. The Steelers wish they could still have them on their squad, but they've spread out due to free agency. I think the top 30 players on this, most of the top 30 players the Steelers have drafted in that decade are not on their team. Most of that number is that they've been cherry picked.
Well, there's a lot of Pro Bowl players that have been signed away from the Steelers, like Carnell Lake of Jacksonville, the safety this year, like Chad Brown, the linebacker from Seattle.
Leon Searcy, Rod Woodson.
That's right.
Watch here. This is John right there. John Jackson right there gets bent back over. That's always the great fear if you're a blocker, even as a wide receiver and obviously for an offensive lineman as well. When you're blocking your guy, you can't turn around and see where the runner is, and you can't see any traffic coming up behind you, so you can't avoid it. So the risk is that you get rolled up.
And a reminder again that Sanyo is proud to bring you some spectacular live aerial views of today's game from the Sanyo Lightship. Perfect flying conditions in Southern California as John Jackson now attended to on the field. Knocked down on the play. Steve, you went to actually went to 7 Pro Bowls, but you went to 4 Super Bowls with the Buffalo Bills. Making that big move, the crossover move, the first year you get there changes the whole face of a team. The confidence factor, even at this high level of the game, is something that has to be there.
Well, you look at this Raiders club, and last week they had such a great game against Tampa Bay, and you talk to Richard Harvey, their starting strong side linebacker. He says that was the first game when we actually just played. We didn't worry about winning. We didn't worry about losing. We just went out and played, and you could really tell a difference. I mean, that game they played last week was a time capsule. I wish they could bottle it and use it every week.
And good to see Big John Jackson up and coming off the field. This is the last game today for one of the most popular members of the Charger organization, Sid Brooks. A longtime equipment manager, his final game. One of the great gentlemen in the league. Of all the guys to pick to hit in the head with an ice ball at Giant Stadium, some guy beaned Sid a few years ago. Here is Beaker down a blitz. Harbaugh on the run. And it's an incomplete pass.
Jim Harbaugh finding out what it's like to be chased by Greg Beaker. Greg Beaker, the middle linebacker for the Raiders defense. He's one of the few guys in the National Football League who stays on the field. He comes through the middle of the line. You'll watch here. He's the guy that's going to end up chasing Harbaugh from behind. Greg Beaker, Willie Shaw, the defensive coordinator, says, I want him on the field all the time. I mean, if he's going to be my leader, I don't want him standing next to me on a crucial 3rd down play. I want him on the field leading my guys in the battle, and Greg Beaker it is all the time.
Middle backer out of Colorado, 7th round pick in '93. Interesting, the running game today. The San Diego Chargers have had little run, 11 carries for 18 yards. The Oakland Raiders have had no running game. There's a penalty marker down. 11 carries for 1 yard per carry on the average for the Raiders so far today. Right now the Chargers set up with long yardage, 2nd down and 20. Harbaugh comes in high. He had open tight end in the rookie Reggie Davis, but couldn't get him the ball.
That's one of the things about Jim Harbaugh when he steps up into the pocket. Sometimes he gets a little bit antsy and lets the ball go a little bit too soon. He's such a good athlete in the pocket. He buys himself a lot of time, and sometimes he forgets to use it. If he just calmed down right at the end of that and put just a little more touch on that, he could have completed that ball. But it's easy for me to say sitting here in the booth, I don't have those guys spitting and breathing hard down my neck.
Well, Harbaugh's ready for anything or anybody. Survived 7 years of Mike Ditka's tirades with the Bears. #1 draft choice of the Bears originally. Rowe and Terrell Fletcher putting on moves, but the good Oakland tacklers come up and knock him down. No gain on the player, short gain. It's going to be way short of a 1st down. And the Chargers will have to punt the ball back to Oakland.
That's how you make a tackle. Charles Woodson came up, and like we said, he's a guy that doesn't shy away from contact. And, you know, there has been a lot of said about the tackling in the NFL has, deteriorated. And I think one of the reasons is these teams can't practice hard. When you practice and have a lot of contact, you stay sharp in your tackling. But you spend so much time these days in the NFL healing up, you can't practice. You can't have a lot of contact in practice, and your tackling suffers because of it.
Now you're in General Hospital if you have a lot of contact in practice. Here's a punt hit downfield. Darian Gordon back at his 2-yard line. Living dangerously. He's taken down at the 12-yard line. 53-yard punt and a 10-yard return.
That's
John
one of the
Reeves was on the tackle.
That's a big no-no as a return man. You never catch the ball inside the 10, and Darian Gordon caught one on the 5 and this one on the 2. You just can't do that. It's too dangerous. And these are the biggest turnarounds you've seen. We've been talking about Indianapolis and St. Louis. How about those numbers at the top of that list? And then going the other direction too, Atlanta, Denver, Minnesota, and the Jets all going the wrong way into losing seasons.
Let me tell you who's going to beat St. Louis in the NFC playoffs. Nobody. They are going to the Super Bowl. Nobody's come within shouting distance of them in the TWA Dome, where they're going to play all their home games. Unbelievable. They were almost out of business last year, and now they might be the best team in the league. They are the best team in the National Conference.
They are, and that's the great thing about this league is, you sit here and watch the Raiders and the Chargers play, and the Raiders had a chance before at the start of this game to get in the playoffs, which has since been taken away. But there were 20 teams with a shot at the playoffs at the start of this weekend in the National Football League. That's a great season for the NFL.
But some are dropping off now with today's results coming in. Here is Cannon throwing hard. James Jett extends to the ball, but can't come down with it. Cannon's now missed his last 7 throws. Next Sunday, the NFL on CBS brings together the playoff puzzle with a season-ending doubleheader. And the first of 2, the Raiders take on the Chiefs. And then Peyton Manning and the AFC champion Colts go against Doug Flutie and the Bills. In the nightcap, most of you will see the Dolphins battle the Redskins. Some of you will see the Chargers take on the Denver Broncos. Check your local listings, beginning with Jim, Craig, Randy, and Jerry on the NFL Today. Gannon throws hard. It's almost picked. Darrell Lewis, a guy who can take it back, almost had a touchdown interception. Lewis, who has more interceptions over the last 5 years than any other player in the American Conference, 29.
It is at this point in the game and late in the first half, the Charger defense has really taken over how this game is playing. They are controlling the tempo, and that's a big factor, especially when you've got a nicked up secondary like they have. They are really playing extremely well without all of their big guns in the secondary.
Leo Arago's into punt now for Oakland. Gets it from his 2-yard line. He's not hit for big distance this year, Leo. Jones, who had the 32-yard punt return, his last return, you remember, watches this one carry him to a halt at the 43-yard line. So with 4:10 left to play in the first half, the Chargers get good field position. Coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report, Jim, Craig, Randy, and Jerry will get you caught up on all the scores and highlights. All coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report. And they will also bring you the playoff picture, break it down. Nobody does it better. As today, the Raiders, despite holding a 10-3 lead here, saw their playoff chances blow up when the Bills in overtime beat the Patriots 13-10. Harbaugh, quick throw, makes the connection. Hard hit put on by the middle backer, Beaker. Jim Harbaugh is looking to his post-football career. Here's some of the things he's talking about, being a landscaper in Vegas. I don't know what that's all about. There are a lot of people, Steve, that get clipped there.
Well, he's been around. Look at there. Yeah, CBS announcer. Maybe he'll be up here with us. There's a guy. He's been around the league. We'll see what he does after his football career is over.
Harbaugh takes a look, dumps it off. There is Fletcher on the run, and he's ahead for a first down. Terrell Fletcher got to shoot low, and Terrell's running the ball.
And as long as Harbaugh can keep making throws like that and finding the open guy, he's not going to be worried about any second career. He can play as long as he wants to, as long as he does that. He really has played well everywhere he's played, in Indianapolis and also in Baltimore. He was only there for a year, but he's a guy that has played to the best of his abilities everywhere he's went. He's played hard, and I think he's gained a lot of respect around the National Football League because of it.
Well, he's had that. He was the #1 passer in the league in '95, playing for the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, within one throw of taking them to the Super Bowl. Incomplete at the 34-yard line. They go to Fletcher. Shortest guy in the field, getting a lot of looks from his quarterback.
And Terrell Fletcher is one of those guys that comes in. He's a third down back. He's a running back, but he's a guy that comes out of the backfield, and he is very difficult to cover, especially one-on-one. Now, sometimes if you can zone and let him run around and just wait for him to come into your area, you can stop him. But you can see when he gets the ball in his hands, he's very difficult to get a good shot on.
Almost impossible. Chargers continue to align without a huddle. Not a hurry-up offense, but it is a no-huddle offense. Throw, and here is Fletcher as he's taken down after a short gain. Now he's still going. They thought they had him. He spins off it and gets down to the 27-yard line. An 8-yard gain on the play. One of the reasons the Chargers like the no-huddle is Harbaugh calls it organized chaos, because you don't know what's going to happen. A lot of good things can happen for you.
Exactly. You see Terrell Davis. Watch the tackle. Terrell Fletcher, I mean, he goes down. His knee never touches the ground, and he keeps his balance. That's the mark of a great receiver out of the backfield. Just keep your balance.
Raider opponents have struggled on third down, but the Chargers are able to convert with the throw to Charlie Jones, so the little guy's having big days.
Charlie Jones, the guy's suffered from back spasms, who's actually their punt returner, and you can see there as he comes on off the field now, another personnel grouping is going to be used here as we hit to the two-minute warning. One of the things the Chargers can do is send a lot of different people at you.
So Harbaugh has his team challenging possibly for the tying touchdown.
Just so we have it on the screen, but yeah, great job
The
there.
Chargers appeared to be in deep trouble. They were earlier in the game down 10-0, but now they've come back. They have a field goal up, and they're first down at the 18-yard line of Oakland. Blitz. Good throw up the middle. It's going to go in for a touchdown as McCrary's under the goal line. The arms go up, and Fred McCrary, with his first touchdown of the season, brings San Diego within an extra point of tying the game. Not what Coach Gruden wanted to see.
The Chargers offense, who took a step backward last week in Miami and hasn't scored a touchdown in 2 games, finally breaks through, and they're doing it through the air. That's the first touchdown pass the Chargers have thrown in the last 15 quarters.
And the first touchdown of any kind in the last 31 possessions. So the Chargers rise up 10 straight points, and they've tied the game with 1:53 to go in the first half.
That's the first touchdown in 9 quarters. They have not thrown a TD pass. That's almost 4 games, 15 quarters. That's how they've struggled, and that's what they were hoping in this no-huddle offense would bring them. You see here, Jim Harbaugh reads the blitz, takes the shot, and goes down. Fred McCrary goes into the end zone, and that's what the Chargers have done all day. They've hit the Raiders for short passes and let their runners run with the ball after the catch.
Fred McCrary, who was a free agent acquired in the offseason, he was a Philadelphia Eagle last season, with his first touchdown as a San Diego Charger. Monday night, CBS begins with The King of Queens, starring Kevin James and Jerry Stiller, followed by Ladies' Man. And then Everybody Loves Raymond, the #1 comedy. Then it's Becker, starring Ted Danson. Then find out who will be the Time 100 Person of the Century. That is all Monday on CBS. So Jim Harbaugh with his 9th touchdown throw of the season. A long time coming. There's been a dry spell, and it's good enough to tie the game. They're the deep men now for Oakland. Calvin Branson, Nat Kaufman. Napoleon Kaufman with a new contract as a Oakland Raider, and here comes Kaufman, loses his footing, slips, and he goes down at the 17-yard line with 1 minute and 48 seconds to play in the first half.
You can see the momentum has really shifted to the home team here in San Diego. The Raiders came out, played extremely well in their first 2 possessions, and now the Chargers defense has stepped up and really shut them off in all 3 of their last possessions. They've gone 1, 2, 3 and out the last couple of possessions, and you can chalk it up to Joe Pascal and his defense.
Don Criqui with Steve Tasker at sold-out Qualcomm Stadium, San Diego, California. Arch rivals going back to 1960 in the American Football League, tied up at 10-10. The Raiders and the Chargers meeting for the 81st time. As the handoff doesn't get much, the tough San Diego defense absolutely slamming the door on a Raider running game that tore up San Diego in the first meeting November 14th.
You see there's Mo Collins stays down. They're playing against a Charger team that is very fired up, and they need to be. Their defensive backfield has been just decimated by injuries. They've lost a Pro Bowler in Rodney Harrison, who is not in the game today. Greg Jackson is starting at strong safety. Michael Dumas has moved from from strong safety to free safety. Fakir Brown is a rookie who is playing. And you'll watch here, this is the replay. This is Mo Collins right here. He'll get rolled up by number 96, Norman Hand. And that's what I mentioned a little earlier. You can't see what's behind you when you're trying to block for the running back. And so many times the traffic behind you rolls into your legs, and that's where offensive linemen most of the time get hurt.
Big Mo being helped off the field now. There he is, a former #1 draft choice out of the University of Florida. Mike Riley, the coach of the Chargers, said looking back on his first year as the head coach of his team, that the thing he's most proud of, that my guys have stayed with it through some very tough times, and finishing 8-8 and beating the Raiders as part of a 2-game winning streak to close out the season would be tremendous. Because right now it's tied up. Because of that injury in the last 2 minutes of the half, the Raiders are charged with a timeout, which leaves them with 1. Gannon, the quarterback for Oakland, has hit a dry spell. What will he go to now? Deep in his own end with 1:28 to play in the half. 2nd down and 8. Tyrone Wheatley is stonewall. Lewis Bush and Junior Seau. Well, the way they talk about Seau, absolutely the best player I've ever been around, says Jim Harbaugh. He sets the pace on the field in practice. When you talk to the Chargers and you say who's having a good year, the first name out of anybody's mouth is Junior Seau, always. Well, I like what the coach of the Cleveland Browns, Chris Palmer, said about him. You watch him on tape and you really start to wonder, what's he doing out there? Then you realize he knows what he's doing. He's all over the field making plays. He has got such a fast motor. He hasn't practiced for about 2 weeks. He's played in both games, the Miami game last week and obviously this game, and he has not taken a snap in practice. Now the Raiders take their final timeout, so Oakland's out of timeouts. John Gruden looks at the play sheet. Got to find something good on 3rd and 7 from deep in your own end. There are a few plays as memorable in Charger history or in Raider history as the Holy Roller on September 10th of '78. The Snake Stabler fumbles forward to Pete Vanadek, who knocks it in the end zone to Dave Casper for the game-winning touchdown. Much to everyone, including the Chargers' disbelief, the Snake has often said, we ran the play exactly as it was drawn up, and there is Freddie Volitnikoff, a Hall of Famer. You know, the thing about that play was, you can say, yeah, it killed the Chargers' chance in the playoffs and let the Raiders go. Fred Volitnikoff was on that team. The thing about that play is it changed the game. They had to change the rules because of that play. And that was the real mark of that Raiders franchise. Those guys found ways to win when nobody else would have. Now they're trying to find their way out of a 3rd down hole deep in their own end late in the first half. 43 seconds to play in it. Gannon, fastball. Brown is hit hard. It's intercepted by Seau, who fancies himself as a tight end. Seau still working with the ball. He laterals the ball. Just craziness about the field. Seau ending up with the ball. He looked to lateral, but nobody could get there. There's a penalty marker down, a 16-yard return. We're going to have to watch this back. Junior Seau with the interception. The ball was thrown at Tim Brown, and it was tipped up in the air. Seau came down with it, and this one's going against the Raiders. Things started out so much in favor of the silver and black, and in the last quarter and a half, the Chargers have stormed back because of their defense and Junior Seau.
After the play was over, personal foul, 63. The passing team.
Barrett Robbins, the center, is called for a personal foul.
Distance. First down.
See, the ball's tipped in the air. Seau comes down with it. He does have some plays in the offense for him being a tight end. And watch here at the end of the play when he goes down. Now look, he's trying to option pass it and throw it out of there. And there you see, Robbins comes down with a knee right in the middle of his low back.
So Junior Seau delivers a big play, and now the Chargers looking to break the tie and take the lead for the first time with 30 seconds to work with. They have 1 timeout left. Harbaugh swings it out. Here's Terrell Fletcher, and he wisely steps out of bounds at about the 7-yard line. Now you see that play Junior Seau just made. He's a guy that told us yesterday. He said, you know, I'm not full speed. I've got 4 gears. I can only use 3 of them. I can't do something. He's still the best player on the field.
I mean, there's a guy, that's why he is such a part of this team and of all their plans.
Well, he fancies himself as a tight end. He's played some of that this year. Then he fancied himself as an option quarterback. Couldn't find anybody to pitch it to, but he does give the Chargers a chance to take the lead before halftime. They're in sure shot field goal range. The Raiders looking for a turnover. A throw and a catch. Michael Ricks taken down by the Raider defense at the 6-yard line. Penalty marker down, and the clock is ticked down to 14 seconds to play.
Looks like it's going to be a face mask as somebody ran by him. Yeah. Anthony Newman's a little bit animated around the officials. You got to think he's probably the guy they called on.
I think, yeah, he's very animated. 12-year veteran out of Oregon. He's been in the league a long time.
Watch here as Michael Ricks turns up, and you see there, that's what they call the face mask, and it looks like he's got his shoulder right there. I don't see the face mask.
Neither did Anthony. And so they're reviewing it now. The officials are talking it over.
You'll see here, this is number 30 coming from the bottom of the screen, obviously. He'll put his arm out. He's got the shoulder there.
There is no foul for a face mask.
There's no
the
official
review. Jersey.
When I said they were reviewing in a private discussion.
Yeah.
Third down.
Well, the officials kind of reviewed themselves.
Yeah, they reviewed themselves and they did a good job.
That's the way they should do it.
Another guy had a better look, and here is Mike Riley now signaling his team with a two-hand motion. I think that means get it in the end zone. 14 seconds left. Harbaugh, who's a pretty mobile guy, not as much as he used to be, but he's averaging over almost 4.5 yards a run. He's going to run. There he goes. Jim Harbaugh takes it down, and he's down to the 1-yard line, and they call a timeout. Their final timeout for the Chargers with 5 seconds left to play.
And they're going to go for the 3 points rather than try for the touchdown. I think that's a smart move. You got a whole half of football to play. Give yourself the lead. Put the Raiders on the defensive, knowing that they have to catch up with you on the road, and I think that's a good move. Send your team into the halftime with the lead, no matter if it's 3 or 7.
Called play, a called run. We know we're not going to see a fake field goal, which we think might have been tried earlier. Nobody's quite sure. Resulted, though, on the ball skipping 35 yards downfield. Carney fell on it, and the Raiders took over the ball. Where the ball is placed now, Carney actually with a try shorter than an extra point.
Darren Bennett will hold him. David Benn, the same guy who missed the snap earlier, will try and get this one on the money.
Snap, set down, and kick are all good, and the first half concludes with John Carney hitting a field goal that puts the Chargers on a 13-0 run, and that gives them the lead. The end of the first half, San Diego 13, Oakland 10. Coming up, the NASDAQ halftime report. Highlights from around the league after this commercial from your local station. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. In the second quarter, the Chargers had 129 yards offense. The Raiders had 7.
That's been the difference. The Raiders came out and played extremely well. They opened the scoring with a field goal, then got a great pass reception, or great run. Right there you see. Then they come back, and then they folded up their tents after Zach Crockett scored his touchdown. Jim Harbaugh drops back, completes that pass to Fred McCrary, and then they tied it up at 10 apiece. At the end of the half, they got the field goal to give the Chargers a lead. And you see here by the statistics, the Chargers have really bounced back after a slow start and now lead in the total yardage. Both teams have turned the ball over once, and that was a push.
Napoleon Kaufman back deep now. Looking to give the Raiders some field position as John Carney right foots the ball. A high spinning kick that'll carry inside the 10-yard line. Here comes Kaufman from the 7. With a burst, he turns to the outside, and he does indeed give the Raiders good field position to start the third quarter. As he runs the ball all the way out past the 35-yard line, not past the 40. We'll see they ruled him out of bounds. It's ruled a 28-yard return.
That's one of the benefits of having a running back by committee. Napoleon Coughlin, who's a great running back, when he has to carry the load or carry the ball 25, 30 times a game out of the backfield, he's not available to return kicks. But now with Tyrone Wheatley in there carrying his share of the load, now you're free to use a guy like Napoleon Coughlin and his big play abilities all over the football field at any time.
Raider offense needing big plays. They've been shut down in the second quarter, just 7 yards, and absolutely stonewalling the Raider running game is just slamming the door. One stretch in the second quarter. The Raiders had 11 carries for the game for a total of 11 yards running the ball. Perella, who's having a tremendous year, a former Buffalo Bill, makes the stop.
You see there John Gruden talking to his offensive side, and there's John Perella getting ready to do it. Look, he's smiling. He knows we're playing good defense, guys. Let's go. Let's keep it up. Those guys are grunts down there. They got blood on their pants. They got grass on their face. They're loving life.
Again, an 0 for his last 9 throws. The one that was caught was by Junior Seau, an interception. This one he hits Tim Brown, the great one from Notre Dame, with a 19-yard gain. Tim Brown, they'll be going to him the whole second half because he's probably the best player on the field.
And they went to him the whole first half. You'll see here, short pass, you run. You notice that one thing that they do with Tim Brown, when he catches this pass, he's at a dead run. And then later on, he'll catch another ball, throws it, he's on a dead run again. Get him the ball. Don't let him hook up, catch the ball standing still. Get him the ball when he's running flat out.
The 8-time Pro Bowler with 3 catches today for 109 yards. Kaufman turns it outside and gets out to the 30-yard line. Napoleon Kaufman turns the corner and is finally run out of bounds, but rookie cornerback Fakir Brown.
He took that micro. Our guy got hit over there. He's all right, isn't he? He's a gamer, isn't he? Put the headphones back on. David Dunn is his name. There, he's okay. I'm all right. He took it. Napoleon Kaufman came out. He's the guy that holds the mic that lets you hear the players. Watch here. Oh, everybody's part of the game. Merry Christmas there, pal.
He's more than all right. He's on television. We can't do without these great CBS technicians. Here is a throw in the flat. Running with the ball is Dudley. Dudley inside the 20. Inside the 10 and down to the 7-yard line. Dudley, a #1 pick out of Ohio State in '96. With a 24-yard gain. Never reached the levels they thought he reached until he had an offseason meeting with Tim Brown and said, what do I have to do to be great? And Brown said, you're #1, you've got to be much more aggressive in the way you prepare and the way you play.
This is the oh-no screen. You'll see here when you run this in practice, the defense says, aha, we got you. And then you throw back, and Ricky Dudley's all by himself. And in practice, you can hear the defense say, oh, no. And they all start chasing him. The oh-no screen works to perfection.
Worked well there for the big gainer, so the Raiders now challenging for the go-ahead touchdown. 1st and goal. Wheatley, or the Chargers are giving up nothing to the running game. Just tremendous run defense by San Diego. Lou Bush, the lead tackler there, 58.
One of the things, if you want to play well in the NFL and you want to win consistently, what you're able to do is to take something away from your opponent that they count on. The Oakland Raiders count on their run game, and the Chargers are taking it away.
Oakland with a total of 25 yards rushing today. This is the #1 running team in the NFL coming in. 138 yards a game on the average. But not against the Chargers today, and they ripped the Chargers running the ball in the earlier meeting. Gannon just fires something into the end zone, but they had to hurry because Seau was coming out of blitz.
Junior Seau just blew this play up in the backfield. He came in, slipped right by the guard, and was in Rich Gannon's face before he could even prepare to throw the football. He just threw it away because Junior Seau just knew it seems like he knows what's going to happen on the football field before it happens, and that's what makes him a great player.
Tim Brown needing a 1 reception, 1 touchdown reception to tie the club record of Fred Biletnikoff, his receivers coach. They're going to be going to him again soon, maybe now. Brown off the left flank. Gannon looks over the middle. Here's where he's at his best, improvising on the run, pump faking. He throws hard. The ball is caught. It is a touchdown to Dudley. Ricky Dudley with his 9th touchdown catch of the year. The guy that was counseled by Tim Brown on how to get better. A 7-yard play.
The Chargers defense is standing there. They're just looking around at each other, their hands on their hips in the end zone. The ball was tipped. It was a throwaway. John Ritchie tips the ball, and it ends up in the hands of Ricky Dudley. And the Chargers defense, they can't believe it. They had this play snapped off with no place to go. And a fluke of a tip by John Ritchie puts the ball right in Ricky Dudley's hands.
And it concludes a terrific opening drive that began with a very good kickoff return by Kaufman. And finally, Gannon on the payoff end with his 21st touchdown pass of the year, the 9th thrown to Dudley. Spanos, the owner of the San Diego Chargers, and his left, our right, is Bobby Beathard, his general managers. They see their team rally with 13 straight points to take the lead before halftime, now trail. Bynum with the kickoff return for the Chargers, and he's to the 21-yard line. As we watch the touchdown throw, Gannon to Dudley.
Rich Gannon is going to come out and roll to his right, and you'll see what he sees down in the end zone. You'll see Tim Brown come across late, and Ricky Dudley moving to the corner of the end zone. Right here, Rich Gannon throws it, and Lou Bush actually tips it. They're number 58 for the Chargers. And Ricky Dudley catches the ball on the tip. That's great concentration.
Dudley was a tremendous basketball player at Ohio State, played varsity 3 years, started. He was a co-captain 1 year. He's 6'6", 250. Averaged 13.5 points and almost 8 rebounds a game 1 year. So if you got to throw it high, he can go up and get it for you. That one was a low ball. And Gannon has now thrown the ball 20 times. He's completed just 8.
Defense, offside. Number 51.
Hey, if you're
made it to the quarterback.
If you're going to be
5-yard
offside,
penalty, still first down.
Going to be offside, make it a good one, right?
Yeah, they always say if you're going to make a mistake, make it full speed. Well, there you go.
Alex Spanos, jamming the board of the team. Not thrilled at the moment as his team now has fallen behind, but here's a good play call for Harbaugh. 1st and 5. Fastball drilled into Ricks. And it's incomplete. And now for an NFL update, we go back to New York and to Jim Nantz. Jim?
Freddie Jones, the intended receiver. Charles Woodson, the betting.
He must have me confused with somebody who could play.
You were on the other side of the ball most of the time, chasing somebody that had it.
That's right.
Fazan, the big running back, takes the ball straight ahead off tackle and gets to the 28-yard line. And it brings up 3rd down in less than 2 yards as Gannon looks over some printouts. What's on those things? Bobby Hoying next to him, 14, the backup quarterback. Harbaugh not risking a run apparently as he takes it himself, going on 3rd and 2 with a throw. Connection made, 1st down made, out to the 33-yard line. Beautifully run pattern by Terrell Fletcher, who now has 40 catches for the year, and he knew right where to go. Terrell Fletcher. Now Mike Riley, who likes the hurry-up offense because he coached 2 Grey Cup winners in Canada where they have only a 20-second play clock, he was telling us.
He's very used to it. He knows that there's not much time between plays, and he has a better awareness, I think, than guys who grew up in the NFL or cut their coaching teeth in the NFL. He knows what it takes to prepare players to run a quick offense.
And Harbaugh likes it. He called it organized chaos. He says because guys don't think about what can go wrong. They just go out and start making plays. It works fast. Here's a play made out to the 48-yard line. Freddie Jones taking the ball over the middle for a 1st down, a 14-yard gain on the play.
Freddie Jones is a tight end not very many people around the NFL know about, but he has the 3rd most catches for any tight end in the AFC. He's behind Gonzalez of Kansas City and Frank Wycheck in Tennessee. Those are 2 pretty good tight ends, and Freddie Jones has put together a very good year here in San Diego.
He's another terrific basketball player, particularly in high school in North Carolina. Harbaugh often talking about the matchup he likes is Freddie Jones against anybody. Harbaugh, ball free. Looks like a live ball, and the Chargers have it, but back at their 33-yard line. Kenny Bynum makes a big play to recover the loose ball. has a blindside hit, frees the ball from Jim Harbaugh.
How many times have you seen it? And I know what it's like on the sidelines when your team pops the ball loose. You say, just cover it. Don't try and pick it up. Lance Johnstone, I think, comes in. Harbaugh loses the ball. There's one guy that misses it. There's another guy that misses it. Another guy. Finally, Terrell Fletcher, or Kenny Bynum, excuse me, comes up with a football. If you just fall on it, that's all you need to do.
He fell on it, but he did it 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So now it is 2nd down and 25. Swing pass to Fletcher. Terrell Fletcher, you got to throw a net over him and sit on him to get him down. And that'll bring up 3rd down and long.
And the Raiders are going into there. It looks like a prevent defense almost on a 3rd and 21.
That's what they're in. Dropping guys way back deep. Harbaugh takes a look downfield on the run, buys some time. Throws near side. He gets the ball to Ricks. It's short of a 1st down, but a nicely executed play under duress by Jim Harbaugh and his big receiver, Michael Ricks. It was good for a 16-yard gain, but the Chargers have to punt.
The one thing that does, it makes sure that the Chargers are going to be able to have the opportunity to pin the Raiders inside their 20-yard line. And it all comes about field position.
Kenny Bynum was really running kind of open on the play.
Yeah, but he's got 3rd and 21. He's standing at the line of scrimmage, and that's why Harbaugh didn't take him.
Hits the high end-over-end punt to Darian Gordon, who lets it hop. It rolls down inside the 5. Looked to me like a touchback. Are they going to call it one? Yes, they are.
He kicked the woolly ball. You know, he's an Australian rules kicker, and he kicked that ball like a kickoff. And when it lands, it's going to hop straight up. And that time it hopped just enough to get into the end zone.
In San Diego, California, the Raiders have come back to take a 17-13 lead in the 3rd quarter with the ball now. 1st down and 10 at their 20. The running game has not been there for this, the best running team in the NFL so far this season. Norman Hand makes the knockdown on Kaufman there.
You see the success and the failures of the Raiders offense. This is the first drive of each half. They've both totaled 100 yards. And the 6 other drives have totaled 91. You think about why that is, and obviously the players come out just a little fresher, a little bit better, knowing what they're going to do in that first drive of each half, but they can't sustain it.
Gannon throws a crossing pattern to Mickens, who is ahead for a gain of about 7 yards out to the 27-yard line, where he's quickly knocked down by Greg Jackson, who was running stride for stride with him.
This is a team there with, you see Mickens, who's the guy that caught that pass. This is a team that really put it all together a week ago and have not been able to duplicate that performance. Terry Mickens is a guy who, like all these Raiders receivers, is fast. That's the only word you can use to describe all those guys. They're all just fast.
They've always had a track team out there at the skill positions. Speed kills. Tim Brown in motion. Running a crossing pattern. Gannon pump fakes to him, dumps it off nicely. And the ball is taken by James Jett, who's ahead for his 37th catch of the year for a 6-yard gain. Tonight on 60 Minutes, if there were no nuclear weapons in the Gulf, how did American soldiers get exposed to radiation during the Gulf War? It's tonight on 60 Minutes. 5:25 to go, 3rd quarter. Raiders learning earlier in the day, by virtue of the Bills' overtime win at New England, that the Raiders cannot make the playoffs. So John Gruden's team now fighting for a winning season. Napoleon Kaufman tries again to find some place to go. Well, you talk about in this league, they measure outstanding running backs by the 4.0 per carry average. This guy has a per carry average for his career of slightly over 4.8.
That's a dynamite average. And you see here these last 7 games, he has really gotten after it. And so has the Raider offense as a whole. This is a team that has started running the football, and I mean running the football well.
Well, Kaufman had 122 yards last week against Tampa Bay, including a 75-yard touchdown run. Gannon sees something he doesn't like. He's seen a lot of things in that Charger defense he hasn't liked, and so he takes a timeout. 13 lead, and with the ball, 2nd down and 7. Gannon, nice throw, tip ball, and those good hands of Dudley results in a 1st down play, a 9-yard play. That's the basketball background. He's as good as there is on a tip ball.
That's why basketball players are great to have on your football team. They're used to getting tipped balls and jumping up for rebounds as Ricky Dudley comes out and the ball's behind him. We saw him earlier in the game reach back and miss a ball. This time he tips it to himself. That's the soft hands of a hoops player.
Oakland with a very limited rushing game, 18 carries, 29 yards total, a 1.6 a carry. Gannon steps in. He's so good at pulling it down and taking off and then sliding to a hole very close to a 1st down. 9-yard gain on the play. Sunday stories, Peyton Manning, 2nd-year quarterback for the Colts. 1st time in 28 games without a touchdown pass, but he did lead his team to its 13th victory in 15 games. Tied for the best record in the American Conference.
For a lot of years to come, Peyton Manning is going to be the yardstick by which all rookie quarterbacks are measured. Not only did he have a good rookie season, he took every snap for his team, and then he answered it with a huge sophomore year. In this, his 2nd year, leading his team to what is now tied for the best record in football.
Unbelievable. If they're a Super Bowl team, here's a handoff. Zach Crockett runs, and on a short yardage play, he's very close to a 1st down. Seems to have it. Steve McNair of the Tennessee Titans, who'd been in a 6-game drought without a touchdown pass till last week, tearing open the Jaguars' pass defense.
He had 5 TD touchdown passes. Now Marshall Faulk, the receiving yards, rushing yards. This is a guy at 258 yards from scrimmage, and then Randy Moss continues his tear across the NFL. He actually threw for a 27-yard TD today. All that going on across the league in the 16th week of the year.
There's a guy who was a high school All-American basketball player, Moss. They finally get the ball to big John Ritchie. The 2nd-year fullback out of Stanford makes his 36th catch of the year, good for 12 yards and a Raider 1st down.
That play action pass was exactly and identical to the one that Ricky Dudley just caught, except he's a tight end catching it instead of a fullback. Ricky Dudley had lined up in the backfield and ran the exact same play for a catch a moment ago. We'll see if they go back to it again.
Oakland realizing this San Diego defense just is not going to open up the run. Just keeps stonewalling it. So Gannon moving the ball all over the field, hitting a lot of different receivers. Long ball. Tim Brown, he's fouled inside the 10-yard line.
No doubt about it.
They reinforced the call too. One call, one flag came in, and 2 others quickly followed.
No question, but watch as he comes out, makes a quick move in, and goes to the outline, and when he looks back for the ball's in the air right there, and he stops. Charles Dimry makes no attempt.
27. Ball at the spot of the foul. 1st down.
And Charles Dimry right there is thinking, I just got to foul him so I don't give up the touchdown. I'll take the penalty. I just can't give up the touchdown. And there's no question.
Gannon, who went on that 0 for 9 passing stretch, has now hit 7 of 8 in the 2nd half. He closed the 1st half, missing his last 9 throws. But he's been hot as the Raiders have taken back the lead. Wheatley into traffic, 2 arms on the ball, down to the 8-yard line.
And that little 3-yard run is as good a run as the Raiders have put together since the 1st quarter.
That's right. Nothing open, averaging well under 2 yards a carry. John Gruden, they cover their mouth like that because they figure it might be lip readers, and it may well be the way that this league has elevated every piece of scouting.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. If they can read his lips, they'll be able to decipher what the words are, and they'll look for repeated words.
Wheatley trying to get his first 1,000-yard rushing season. He's got a game to go after this. Gannon with a great fake, and he throws it away. Kenny Shedd was in the vicinity, but big John Perella, 290-pound defensive tackle who already has 5 sacks as an inside rusher this year. John Perella put the heat on again.
It's getting to the point where the Chargers know that the Raiders are not going to consistently move the ball on the ground, and now they're putting their ears back. John Perella in the past month has played as well, if not better, than every defensive tackle in the National Football League. He's really had that kind of month. The last half of November and December have been great for him.
He's the guy that told us that he loves playing the Raiders. He's called it a street fight with helmets on. Third down, swing pass. He goes high, and backup tight end Jeremy Brigham, a former Washington Husky, can't come down with the ball, so the field goal unit comes out, looking to extend the Raider lead to 7 points.
John Gruden standing on the sideline watching this play. Watch him as he thinks they might have it. He looked open for a moment, can't pull it in. He knows a touchdown right there would have really made things easier for his club.
Gruden 8-8 in his first year. You consider how some of the great coaches in the league history have done in their first years. Bill Walsh was 2-14. Jimmy Johnson 1-15 at Dallas. Chuck Noll 1-13. As he now takes a team that was 4-12 in '97 to 8-8 last year, looking to go to 9-7 this year. And next season, who knows where the Raiders might be. Kenny Bynum. Look at this little Terrell Fletcher get out in front and throw a block, and now markers come in. Everybody wonders why there's so many markers on kickoff returns. Gets down to basics. You can't practice it or you won't have enough guys to field a team.
That's exactly right. We spoke earlier about how hard it is to practice tackling because of the physical nature of the game, and it just takes too much out of you during the week, and you have to heal up rather than practice on the physical stuff. And kicking game is a great example of that. You cannot practice special teams full speed during the week.
Personal foul. Face mask. 34, the kicking team. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Jermaine Williams. Well, there was a great one who was lost to the Raiders with injury that wore that number. Bo Jackson. They have another one also, Marin. No, they don't. No, that's all they have activated, right?
You know what I think about when I see that right there? How, yeah, not prom date actually, but what I think of is
we can
you got to go home and clean up. You know?
Yeah. You're the director.
Oh yeah, good. Yeah, that's right. Thanks for telling me that. I didn't realize that. Yeah. I'm gonna get into telling my life story. I wonder if he's pushed down any referees. He's there with his girl.
Another of the warm and fuzzy Raider fans. You know you're having a bad day, Steve, if you're driving behind this guy and he's on a Harley.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
And your horn gets stuck.
Yeah.
Here's another early leave. And it's going to be an open play as Harbaugh, still with good arm strength. Was down to Ricks. Ricks caught it, but I don't think he was in bounds. He was ruled out of bounds.
As you see so many times, Harbaugh just taking this free shot downfield. He knows he's got a free play. Why not go for the touchdown?
Defense. 91.
He knows that. He knows, you know, this is a team that, hey, let's face it, they've been through some tough times this year. But you know what? Jim Harbaugh, veteran quarterback, he knows, man, every play is important.
Got some pretty nice numbers.
Yeah, 18 for 28, 239 yards. That's a good day.
One touchdown, and he's been intercepted once. Harbaugh steps up, but too late. Ball on the field. Lance Johnstone, he is a terror coming from the right end to rush position, coming to Harbaugh's blind side. Lance Johnstone had a 13-yard fumble return for a touchdown last week against Tampa Bay. A return to San Diego after this word from your local station. They want things to have. They're unhappy about something. And you notice nobody around them has much to say to them.
Yeah, they got a little buffer zone around them. Been a hard holiday season there. They were up early yesterday morning.
Right now, the ball is positioned at the 41-yard line. Those aren't debutantes the Raiders bring in the stands.
No, they don't.
Spikes in their shoulder pads. Harbaugh takes a look. He's going to go long.
Gone.
It's out there. Jeff Graham diving at the ball. Eric Allen breaks it up. A clean play. Official right on it. And it is incomplete.
That was an outstanding defensive play by Eric Allen, staying with Jeff Graham, playing the ball all the way. So many times a defensive back will forget about the ball and start playing the receiver. Looking at, we saw it earlier with Charles Demery on the other side, but look here, Eric Allen, his eyes are up looking at the ball, times the jump. Great ball skills there. Just getting up in the air and batting it away, making it look easy. You can't do it any better than that.
Harbaugh from the shotgun on 3rd down and 12. Now he's got an open guy, but it's almost picked off. Charlie Jones was running free on the near sideline, but then recovering beautifully was Anthony Newman, who almost had the pick. There is a penalty marker down.
Holding. Defense.
Defensive holding.
24.
First down, San
5-yard
Diego.
penalty. Automatic first down.
Well, Charles Woodson was holding right there. You see him holding Charlie Jones, trying to get loose, and that's illegal there. And that's why Charlie Jones was so wide open coming down the sideline. Woodson was holding him so badly, he fell down.
Gruden says that Woodson's going to be a tremendous player for a long time because he knows what it takes to be a great player. He really takes care of himself, really prepares. Throw and almost a pick. His receiver losing his footing. Harbaugh had the ball right where it needed to be, but usually the sure-footed Charlie Jones lost his footing, so it's incomplete. Live pictures of today's game are brought to you by the Sanyo Lightship, one of the largest airships in the world. It holds over 150,000 cubic feet of helium. Another marker down.
This was very late in the play. Now the officials, like they did earlier, are talking things over and like, what did you see? What did I see? What it was called? Why the flag on the ground? That's a good thing for an official's crew to do, as long as they don't take all day.
Too many men. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
You can only play with 12. Although where Mike Riley coached in Canada, you can play with 12. You can only play with 11 if you have 12. You can play with less than 11, actually.
Yeah, you can take a snap with less than 11. It's not advisable.
There's a lot of plays, though. Sometimes, particularly in college, they look back. There's 13 guys out there sometimes.
Oh, yeah, that happens a lot more than people realize. You see there's the yardage, and wow, what a seesaw battle in yards.
brief conference. All these NFL officials are selected from the absolute most select major college officials. Jeff Triplett, the referee, spent a number of years as a lead official in the Big East. And on the average, they hire 3% of the officials that they review.
A moment ago, they called 12 men on 9. I think they're going to clarify that.
On the down. It's still first down.
Now, this moment ago, this is what was called the 12 men on the field on defense. You'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And that's where the flag came in. And they actually do have officials. There are certain responsibilities before each play. And the field judge and the back judge, that's their job, is to make sure there's 12 on their side of the football, or 11 on their side of the football, and not 12.
John Gruden not pleased, as now it's first down and 5 for San Diego. The pitch back. Free ball on the field. The Chargers get it back, but they lose yards, and now a penalty marker comes in after the play as we have guys. A little bit of shuffling there, and some kicking actually went on.
Von Parker absolutely tackled and was grabbing and wrestling with Darrell Russell, and Darrell Russell was trying to get away. And that's where the flags came in late. The ball was on the ground.
Darrell Russell is a tremendous football player. He was the second player picked in the draft.
You can see there he's insane. He was just getting grabbed. I mean, it wasn't even Clay. He wasn't even trying to be blocked. He was just wrestling to the ground, trying to throw him like, you know, like you would a cow or something. You see, here's the fumble. Ball comes right out. And Roman Fortin falls on it. You see there, you can see that. That's enough to get you going.
Darrell Russell back in his hometown, San Diego, California, the #1 pick of the Raiders back in '97, the second pick overall. The first pick that year was the huge offensive tackle from Ohio State that went to the Rams. Who is that?
Orlando Pace.
That's it.
Holding. Offense. Right guard. 10-yard penalty. Remains first down.
And that's part of the fun of being in the NFL. You see these guys come into the league as a first-round draft pick, and they either go, it seems like they either go the way of Darrell Russell, where they become a great player almost to me, like Charles Woodson, or they go the opposite direction. I mean, you never get a guy who's fair to middling. You know, he's either a complete success or a complete bust. Well, and I think that's part of the curse of being a first-rounder.
Here he is, an inside pass rusher with 9.5 sacks. He's double-teamed on every play. I mean, he's a game changer.
Yeah, he really is. A lot of penalties on, and nothing but what you would expect from a Raider-Chargers game. And those penalties, even though the Chargers only have 7 of them, they've been crucial.
But you know, the Raiders, they often talk about the most penalized team in the league. As the coach is frustrated now, John Gruden, but the Raiders have won Super Bowls in years when they've been the most penalized team in the league.
You see there, John Gruden thinks, hey, the ball should have been back there. The ball should have been back from where he fumbled it, not from where they recovered it.
But from a 1st and 5, the Chargers now find themselves with 1st and 15. Harbaugh throws, he comes in high, a poorly thrown ball. And not the kind your receiver likes to go up in the air with his back to the defense on. Jeff Graham now a Raiders down back at the 37-yard line. And that's one of the best, Russell Maryland.
One of the things that Russell Maryland's able to do, especially in the run game for the Raiders defense, it's his job, as well as that is Darrell Russell. Yeah, make all the tackles you can, but just soak up blockers and let your linebackers run to the football, and he's very good at that.
Better go, John Gruden talking to referee Jeff Triplett. Something he didn't like, probably the spot of the ball after the call against the Chargers.
Yeah, the penalty's offset, and he wanted to know where the ball was placed and why, and he never got an explanation to his satisfaction before the next play count, and he was very unhappy about it. And there's a couple of coaches around the National Football League that wear their intensity like a mask, and he's one of them. You can tell when it's game day when you look at John Gruden.
2nd down and 12 coming up for the Chargers, down by 7 early in the 4th quarter. Harbaugh, they give him time, but he comes in with a low throw that slapped back at him. That was James Harris, a big rangy defensive end. Both the defensive ends, good to see James Harris making plays because he's an underrated player. Both defensive ends for the Raiders are from Temple University in Philadelphia. Harris and Lance Johnstone.
And they're both, you know, kind of the same type of player. Tall, rangy, very fast, in contrast to the inside guys like Darrell Russell and Russell Maryland.
Maryland was shaken up, walked off. Okay, there's a very good young player in there who plays behind Maryland, and Grady Jackson. Harbaugh lofts a long ball. Caught at the 10-yard line. Jeff Graham with a 49-yard play. He's like the long bowman of Agincourt, just firing away these long, high arcing long balls that are being caught.
This was almost just like a Hail Mary. You see there, Jeff Graham hesitates, squats down, then takes off. The only guy with a chance to make the play is Anthony Newman. He gets over there, but Jeff Graham just battles him for the football. That's what quarterbacks love out of their receivers. Just go up and make a play. I know it's not the perfect throw. Just help me out, and Jeff Graham did.
Yes, he did.
So the Chargers now challenging, and Jim Harbaugh not wanting to make a mistake on this big opportunity to possibly tie the game. Calls a timeout. 13:23 left to go in the game. It's 20-13 Raiders. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker back at San Diego, California. Jim Harbaugh, quarterback for the Chargers, has completed 4 passes today of over 30 yards. That 49-yarder now gives them first down and goal at the Raider 10. Timing throw up the middle. It's caught. Touchdown, Jeff Graham. And the Chargers are with an extra point of tying the game. High fives all the way around in Alex Panos' owner's box.
He's in there with about 3 or 4 or 5 of his grandsons. His son Dean is in there with him as well. What a great game they're witnessing today. Jim Harbaugh coming down, a gritty performance. Drops back just a quick slant to Jeff Graham. Jeff Graham has really been the go-to guy for the Chargers this year. He has really elevated his play from at any point in his career.
Well, John Carney, the extra point guy, he's now 3 points away from 1,000 points for his career. There's 998. It's a good one as it ties the game at 20-all with 13:18 left to play. We'll be back with the San Diego kickoff in a moment. To San Diego. The Chargers tying the game now. The game has gone back and forth. Raiders led early 10-0. Chargers led at the half 13-10. Raiders went ahead then with an opening drive touchdown to start the second half. And now the Chargers come back to tie it. And nicely placed kick as the ball is fallen on by Napoleon Kaufman back at the 16-yard line. Jason Perry is the man who is down to make the play on special teams. It's got Coach Mike Riley running up and down the sideline.
And you see there how it's turned around. Some days you come out and it just clicks for you. And Mike Riley's a guy who just kept plugging. He's a guy that loves game day. You know, they've been through some tough times here this season, but he's a guy that has really enjoyed being on the sidelines during game day. As a kid, he wouldn't start playing in his living room until his mom sang the national anthem.
That's right.
And that's a guy who loves game day.
He led his high school team in Corvallis, Oregon to state championships in baseball, basketball, and football. He was the MVP in all 3 teams. So he was also a player before becoming a coach. Wheatley, there's just nothing there. This John Perella is a force, 97. Throwing aside blockers, slamming the run. Log on to NFL.com and vote for the NFL Player of the Century. Who is your pick? Vote now on NFL.com. That's a tough call, huh? Player of the Century?
Yeah, it is a tough call. That is a real tough call. I don't even... You got to go back like Jim Thorpe. I mean, Red Grange, Jim Brown. Wow.
Here is Gannon. Sidearming the ball. Incomplete as Seau was there. I told us he just, because of the injuries, doesn't have the speed to go sideline to sideline, but he's been doing it, including the time he intercepted a ball earlier.
Yeah, well, when you got a guy like Junior Seau, sometimes that fourth gear just comes with autopilot. And he's playing like this game is a playoff game. He does that every week. It's just something, that's what has caused him to elevate the play, this whole defense, for his entire career. If he's doing that with 3 speeds, heaven help us if he gets a 5th gear.
They're down, a loss of almost 2 yards on the play. Heats on, Gannon on the run. They nail him at the 10-yard line. Second sack of Rich Gannon. Rayleigh Johnson and Norman Hand are the sackers.
Well, that's when Rich Gannon has struggled today. When he's had time to go back and throw, he's found his receivers. But the Chargers at different times have been able to get pressure on him, force him to run, throw off balance, hurry his throws, and also sack him.
Could be a lot more points scored in this game. Still almost 12 minutes to play. The punt hit downfield by Araguz. And the Raiders have to down it as it bounced back at them. So the Chargers will start inside the Raider 43-yard line. All at the 41-yard line. So the game has certainly changed.
Well, 1 out of every play, every 5 plays in a football game is a special teams play. Now, you always say there's a 1/3 and a 1/3, but it's only 20% statistically. But as you can see where the field position now is, they're weighted. Field position is dominated and dictated by special teams, and that last punt was terrible.
Wasn't a great one. Here's Harbaugh. He wants to get it fast. He goes down to Freddie Jones. He's inside the 30. The whole Raider defense comes hitting on big Freddie Jones. Whistle blowing, a 15-yard gain, a first down for the Chargers.
One of the things that makes Jim Harbaugh a great quarterback is his ability to fight out of tough situations. They came out flat in the first half, and he just battled through it. He just absolutely will not give up, and his team responds.
Well, he earned the nickname Captain Comeback. In that great season the Colts had him with him at quarterback. With a run, go the San Diego Chargers. Oakland's defense doesn't give up much. Knocked down at the 23-yard line by middle backer Greg Beaker.
One of the things that this offense is missing and has missed at different times during this year is Natron Means, a franchise running back who has really meant a lot to this offense since coming over from Jacksonville, and this is where he sits. He played here up until '95, helped his team to the Super Bowl, then left, and now has come back and continued a great career here, but has been injured most of this year.
Harbaugh takes a look, throws near side. Jones on the run. He's got a first down inside the 15-yard line. Nathan Means, we mentioned him, just a series of injuries. Has missed 15 of his last 22 games as a Charger. Knee, ankle, and they're hoping to get him back fully healthy as to be their prime runner. But right now it's the right arm. There's Natron. The right arm of Jim Harbaugh moving the team downfield. That throw gets the ball inside the 15-yard line. First down and 10. Another throw and catch. McCrary across the middle. Not for much, but he got some plus yards. Barton, the rookie, makes the stop for the Raiders.
And at this point, this no-huddle offense, you can tell, is beginning to wear a little bit on the Raider defense. They're standing around with their hands on their hips. They're a little bit tired. Play after play after play. If you're not used to it, it wears on you in the fourth quarter.
Well, Harbaugh's been running them around. 23 completions today for 326 yards. Fazan taking on tacklers and holding on to the ball as those Raiders come hunting the football, led by James Harris, 93. Mike Riley seen this game turn, fighting to have an opening season as the head coach of the Chargers with a 500 record. They come in 6-8. Raiders came in the day, starting the day with a 7-7 record. Harbaugh, here comes the rush, free ball. It is picked up by big Roman Fort in the center. That blindside rusher is really getting some clean shots on Jim Harbaugh. Terrific defense by Lance Johnstone.
Lance Johnstone has stripped Jim Harbaugh of the football in the same way 3 times today, and it cost him a field goal earlier. Watch here as he steps back. He just gets around Raleigh Roundtree, the left tackle, playing for the injured John Jackson.
Jackson was shaken up in the first half. Carney now ready to try the field goal. The hole is at the 27. 37-yard field goal is on the way. It's right down the pipe. John Carney goes over 1,000 career points as a San Diego Charger with his right leg. And with the field goal, he gives San Diego a 23-20 lead. We'll be back with the Chargers kickoff in a moment. John Carney, whose field goal just put the Chargers in the lead, kicks off. Napoleon Kaufman out to the 27-yard line, and it's first down and 10 there for Oakland. A most unusual game. The Raiders outscored the Chargers 10-0 in the first quarter. Chargers outscored the Raiders 13-0 in the second quarter. Raiders outscored the Chargers 10-0 in the third quarter, and the Chargers have so far outscored the Raiders 10-0 in the fourth quarter.
You see here Rich Gannon's numbers. Hasn't completed the normal 60% of his passes as he has, but and really when he's had problems is when he has not been able to have time to sit in the pocket. The Chargers have brought a lot of good pressure to bear, and that's affected those numbers.
Gannon gets the ball away over the middle just before he is leveled. And the ball is completed to fullback John Ritchie for a gain on the play of about 5 yards. Big rush again by Rayleigh Johnson.
He's going to come back with a holding call.
Hey, over the years.
Offense, 65. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
That's been so many great Raider Charger games. This could be another of them by the time it's over.
Right here is coming off the left side there. And you see there, that's called on Barry Sims, who's really the normal right guard for the Raiders. And he's playing left tackle today.
Gannon on 1st and 10 on the run. He's going to take it and gets to the 23-yard line. One of the Raider Charger games I remember best was back in '85, an overtime game. Unbelievable. Chargers won on a Little Train James touchdown reception, 40-34.
One of the things that's happened in this game, Mo Collins, the left tackle for the Raiders, is out of the game, and Barry Sims, who just got called for the hold, had to move out to left tackle. And he's normally the right guard, and now Gennaro DiNapoli is in at right guard. So they've had to shuffle the offensive line around. And that has obviously showed through in their offensive numbers, the shuffling of that offensive line.
And the Charger pass rushers attacking him with stunts, blitzes. Good catch by Ritchie. John Ritchie, who's only carried the ball 5 times all year, but he has 37 receptions. That one was good for 5 yards. Gannon stands in. He takes a look. Well, he buys time. Gets the ball downfield, and Mickens makes the catch for a Raider first down. Terry Mickens goes up and comes down with the ball for a 17-yard gain.
That's why Rich Gannon has really improved this Raiders team. His ability to run and scramble. It's not about gaining yards with the run. It's about gaining time. And even though Terry Mickens brings this down and in, this play's going to come back with a hold in the backfield now that the Raiders have been called for a holding.
Number 63, offense, illegally downfield. 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
Barrett Robbins was downfield. That is one of the problems with a scrambling quarterback. The offensive lineman can't read his mind. Is he going to run the football and try and get the first down? Should I go down and block for him, or should I wait and let him try and throw the football? And that's a problem.
Well, the ball is positioned back 5 yards on the legal man downfield, rather than 10 on the hole, so that will make it third down and 15. Raiders, as you see, down by 3. They've led by as many as 10. Again, Gannon buys time, makes a throw, open man. Mickens again, far sideline, first down Oakland. A 19-yard gain, no flags.
Well, the strong safety, Greg Jackson, moves over. As Mickens goes up the sideline, you'll see there number 26, Darrell Lewis, lets him go and then forgets about him. Well, Greg Jackson is defending the deep pass, hoping for help that Darrell Lewis will drop back, and there you see Mickens just break it off. That's what a great quarterback can do, find the guy in the traffic.
And he keeps buying time to find the guy. Wheatley keeps slamming it up, and the San Diego defense keeps knocking him back. There's just nothing straight ahead against this Charger defense. Wheatley, who tore it up last week, a big game against Tampa Bay. He's not doing much today. 8 carries for 14 yards.
One of the things about it, the runs that the Chargers stop here in the fourth quarter are just, if not more important, as the runs that they stuffed him in the first quarter. They've got to continue that and make sure the Raiders don't become a running football team here in the fourth.
We are told now the graphic was correct. It's 11 carries for 12 yards for Wheatley. Here's a throw near side, and with the ball is the very fast James Jett. He's out of bounds at the 46-yard line.
You see James Jett running across the football field. He is so fast. One of the things you don't really get a sense of, he's 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighs 165 pounds. He weighs probably 100 pounds less than 50% of the guys on the football field right now.
All right, you're harder to hit when you're that size.
Yeah, the damage is greater, though, believe me.
Jett gets behind the defender. It's over. Nobody out there faster than James Jett. Ooh, a well-executed screen pass play, and Wheatley breaks his first big play of the game. He's inside the 20 and down to the 18-yard line. And the Raiders strike big, rallying to try and come from behind. A 27-yard pass play.
Oh, that was a diabolically clever call. They have not run a screen pass all day and finally pull one out late in the fourth quarter when they've been taking a lot of heat on the pass rush and get it to the guy who's tough to tackle down the field. Tyrone Wheatley, when he gets in the secondary, you see there Charles Dimry, he almost gets shrugged off. And that is a great play call and executed perfectly.
.27 yards worth of execution perfectly. Here's a throw and an incomplete pass at the 16-yard line. Again, a big rush put on. Rayleigh Johnson coming hard at quarterback Rich Gannon.
You can see here as Rich Gannon drops back to pass, the Chargers just are not biting on the play action fakes. They just don't believe the Raiders are going to try and hand it off. And they're right now dropping back guys into coverage that normally would have to be committed to the run. But they just don't think the Raiders can get it done on the ground, so they're covering downfield in the pass coverage very well, and Rich Gannon's struggling.
But he does have them in position for a tying field goal right where they are now, and this is 2nd down and 10 coming up. And they have to take a timeout before the play clock runs out and cost them 5 yards. So according to our count, that is the final timeout for the Raiders. That is their 3rd timeout of the second half. The Chargers have not used any. One of these things about these clubs now that the Raiders have been eliminated from the playoff race, and as the Chargers have as well. We talked to John Gruden about what's in store for these Raiders. I mean, are you going to go out and pick a guy up in the draft, or what are your plans for making your team better? And he said one of the things we've got to do is keep the guys we've got so that we can get back to the playoffs. And you see what happens in the playoffs this year. This is the picture. Jacksonville, Indianapolis, and Tennessee are all clinched. The rest of those 4 teams, Kansas City, Buffalo, Miami, Seattle, none of them has clinched a playoff spot yet. You talk about a statement game, what Tennessee did to Jacksonville. The 2 losses for the Jaguars are both to Tennessee, won by 1 point in the rain. And today, with Steve McNair throwing 5 touchdown passes for Tennessee, they blew Jacksonville right off the field in Nashville. Statement game sending a message. That message was received in Jacksonville, no question about it. To the end zone, Dimry was the nearest guy to the ball. Mickens looking up. He was the intended receiver. He went down looking for a flag, and none forthcoming. Albert Fontenot, a left defensive end, putting a pass rush on for Mike Riley's Chargers.
Right now, Oakland's got to be thinking, with that play, they were going for the end zone. And I think one of the things you have to remember is they're down in the red zone and teams struggle, especially against a quality defense like San Diego. You've got to have a good plan and execute very well. 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10 is not where you want to be.
And right now, they're at 3rd and 10. The sold-out stadium as a full blitz is coming. And they sack Gannon at the 27-yard line. No flags down. Looked like the Chargers might have left early, but the official right there, the linesman, takes a look and says no. Sayal and Norman Hand combined on the sack. Loss of 8 yards.
They almost timed the snap perfectly, but Gannon made them at least hitch a minute in their step, but they just brought too many people to be protected. Mike Riley knows that's a big play. Now it's a 44-yard attempt, which is not that easy.
Surely is not. Nedney, a left footer, booms the ball, hits it nicely, but he's wide. He's long enough, but he is wide. It's no good. And with 3:04 left to play in the game, Gruden sees what would have been a tying field goal miss, and the Chargers take over the ball. So a lot of emotion on the field, and there's a guy that epitomizes emotion. Junior Seau.
Both these teams are out of the playoffs, and yet they live and die with every kick. This is such a close football game. Nedney knows as soon as it leaves his foot, this thing's not coming back in. Sometimes they'll hook it and it'll come back in, but that one has no chance.
Seattle, meanwhile, continues to hold to a 23-14 lead over the Kansas City Chiefs. They battled for the AFC West title, this division, so many years, sending 4 teams to the playoffs. Fazan runs the ball, and now you remember we're talking about the Raiders with no timeout, so they're in deep trouble now. They can't stop the clock.
There's no question that this possession, even if it's 1, 2, 3 and out, Jim Harbaugh's going to be able to take this down to the 2-minute warning, and that's really going to spell doom for the Raiders unless they can get the football back with a turnover, which they've done this year, today against this team. They have really gotten a lot of pressure and forced some turnovers. They have not gotten every fumble they forced, but they have had the opportunities.
These are 2 good young coaches who are going to win a lot of games in this league. Gruden, he can fix that evil eye on you.
He's an intense young head coach the players like playing for.
Seattle has beaten Kansas City 23-14 on the run. Jim Harbaugh sliding to a halt wisely, staying in bounds, keeping the clock running, and a penalty marker's fired in. It's on the Raiders.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 96 defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, Gruden's unhappy because he thought that Russell was just coming in trying to make sure the guy's down. I mean, you got a game on the line.
Harbaugh slides.
That's a tough call.
Yeah, it is a tough call.
Yeah.
Harbaugh slides feet first. Russell Maryland, he doesn't even take 1 step. Watch here as Harbaugh hits the ground. Russell Maryland.
He's already moving towards him.
Yeah, that's a very thin call, and you can see Gruden can't believe it.
Well, the ball is positioned on the penalty call against the Raiders out to the 49-yard line of San Diego. Raider defense will be hunting the ball now. This next play will take it down to the 2-minute warning, and that'll be the last stoppage the Raiders will get. No timeouts left for Oakland. Fazan, the big rookie fullback, thunders ahead to the 45-yard line.
That's the kind of run you need in a 2-minute drill.
So there is the 2-minute warning. We'll be back to San Diego after a word from your local station. 23-20, San Diego with the ball, coming from behind in the first half, coming from behind in the second half. The game John Perella of the Chargers calls a street fight with helmets on. The annual meetings with the Raiders. Second down. Back to the run. Back to the big back, and Fazan breaks it. Running over people. And that will just about put the Raiders out of business. And this Sunday afternoon, they have no first down, no timeouts left. There is a first down, a 17-yard gain.
You can say what you want about what this game means to the playoff picture, which is nothing. But I'll tell you what, these teams see each other too often not to care a great deal about who wins this football game.
They surely do. The executive producers of CBS Sports are Sean McManus and Terry Ewert. Today's game produced by Jim Rickoff, directed by Steve Milton. Associate Director Sean Gerchikoff, production associate Paul Shaver, as they now go to the down the ball play call, and that will do it. Raiders powerless to stop the clock. A tremendous win for Mike Riley, because his team was really taken apart by the Raiders earlier.
These guys are learning as if it was a playoff season. You see here's the playoff picture take shape in the AFC today. You see there Seattle beat Kansas City, and those two teams flop, and now the one who lost that game today in Seattle goes all the way to the bottom of the ladder behind Miami and Buffalo. These games at this time of the year, that's why you want to win in September, so you get a little cushion in December.
Tremendous come from behind win for the San Diego Chargers. Clock runs, and the Raiders, who battled every step of the way, and now John Gruden sees his season go to 7-8. Best he can do is equal his first year's mark of 8-8. And they don't have an easy time next week as they go to Kansas City.
No, it doesn't get any easier, and Kansas City's going to come out with fire next week after losing in Seattle today. And this has been a year like that in the NFL. Hot and cold, the good teams are bad, the bad teams are good, and then next week it's all different.
So that will do it. The final numbers are up, and the Chargers beat the Raiders 23-20. Now for Steve Tasker, this is Don Criqui, thanking you for joining us, and the happiest of holidays.